tonight on 8.5-bit Electronic Entertainment Expo. I'll just use the first clap.
Oh, I was trying to do 3.
Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 294 of 8.5-bit. I'm your host, Paul, and tonight I'm my good friends James.
Hello.
And Sam.
Hi.
And it is the week of E3.
Yay.
So the games talking about in tonight's intro were, of course, E3. It's not a game.
It's a thing.
It's a thing that happened. It's not even a thing that... it's not tangential anymore. It's only an online event. And it really is no different for people that aren't physically attending it, because we just watch conferences anyway.
Yeah.
So, but Sony's not in it still, so that's still the same as it's been.
Yeah.
Well, only technically last year they weren't there. The year before was when they did that really weird, like, we're just going to show you 3 games in various churches thing.
Oh yeah, 3 different locations for 3 different games.
Yeah.
So are they
It's
gonna
just exercise.
are they gonna do something?
Sony?
Yeah.
Sony are technically partnered with Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, so maybe they will,
Yeah.
but they don't have an event
Yeah.
lined up or anything. We might just see like a bit of information here and there.
Which I'm not too sure what we'd be seeing from Sony at this point.
I'm not sure
God
because
of War,
they
maybe,
did the no, they're not going to show God of War. They had that thing last week where they spoke about it, where they said it's delayed until next year.
Yeah.
It was what we actually spoke about it on the show.
We did, yeah.
Because it was like, who thought it was coming out this year? Crazy people. And we were a little bit sad that it's a cross-generational game. But also, I mean, the question, like, it must have been that basically the whole time. So if the design's never had it, it's whatever. Anyway, we complained about that last time with our entitled grumbles. But E3. So tonight's episode will be mostly talking about the things that happened. And just to structure it, I'm just going to go through the order of E3.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Look
I'm
through
going to talk
things.
about things that I think we want to talk about, and I can be interrupted, I guess. You each get 3 interruptions.
Do we need to be here? Like,
I'm just going to give my thoughts. I did the news for Z Games this week. I wasn't scheduled to do the news, but I the episode had been lined up to be about Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, guys, everyone, it's E3 week. It's E3 week. Like, Paul, you should do the news. So the news was twice as long as normal. Even then, I didn't even mention Devolver. It should have been all Devolver all the time, but alas, it were not to be. Okay, so we've also got a couple of games to talk about, but let's just jump into E3 as it happened this year. So it basically kicked off with the Summer Game Fest launch. Jeff Keighley. So first thing up, the thing we're going to... Actually, no, Sam might have things to say. First thing revealed was, of course, Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Oh, yeah.
I said to my brother, hey, we're going to have a game to play next year.
There you go.
And it'll be interesting.
Because it is a standalone game, isn't it?
Yes, they've tried to make it very pointed that it's not a Borderlands game.
Yeah, so this is
even though it's a looter shooter.
It's a Borderlands game.
It's a Borderlands game.
But
They don't have the Borderlands characters.
Yeah, they don't have grenades. They have spells.
But their spells are melee weapons.
Yeah.
So
this is because what was the DLC they had in Borderlands 2?
I've actually forgotten what it's called, but it's the best one.
Yeah, well, that's like I guess they knew that was the best one, and they just sort of pushing that a little bit
more
further.
of that.
The D&D spin.
Yeah.
And D&D is stupid popular at the moment.
It is ridiculously stupid popular.
We're seeing the wicked cool shit you've been doing.
Yeah.
With your models and your smoke machines.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of those smoke machines.
Yeah, no, it is. It's real good.
I'll show you.
All right.
I spent a lot of money and time on D&D. And I
got a smoke machine.
I've got 2 tiny ones.
Okay. Well, then you can...
Which means yours is bigger, Paul.
I'm sure your smoke machine's very good, Paul.
It's fine.
And possibly toxic.
I gave it to my sister-in-law for a party, and she used it in an open-air environment.
Well, that's silly.
I was like, what? You said you were going to do it in the dance floor. It's like there's wind. This isn't going to work. It's going to be very unsatisfying for you. It's only a little consumer grade one. Yeah. Little baby one for me.
We should do it in here sometime.
Just fill it.
You just want me to smoke up?
Yeah, just for us.
Without the show or just?
No, with the show.
Oh, okay.
or both. Like, I don't want to be able to see it on the camera.
What? Oh, I wonder how a smoke machine would go with like the Quest sensors. How smoky the room could get before they start fucking
I don't
up.
know.
Because it would be good when you come out and you're like, oh no, I'm still in VR. There's lasers and smoke everywhere.
You'd come out after half an hour and worry that your house is on fire, and you didn't notice.
Sweet. I guess it would get up between the nostrils too, so you get smoke. Anyway, so that's one game. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So yeah, Borderlands spin-off. I mean, it actually looked quite good. I'm not offended by Tiny Tina like so much of the internet seems to be. Seems fine.
Yeah.
The cast was huge though, wasn't it? Like,
Well, they got a bunch of D&D people, don't they?
they got like A-list actors in it.
Yeah, I can't remember any of the names.
Do they have any Critical Role people in there?
Probably, but I don't know who any of those people are.
Technically, Tiny Tina herself is, because she did guest on Critical
did
Role,
she?
and she did create possibly the most important story point in the campaign too.
So
Okay.
the leads are Andy Samberg, I think. Actually, no, I don't think he's the villain. I think Will Arnett's the villain, and Wanda Sykes is in it. So, they've got the Borderlands movie coming out with our... Actually, God, did you see that one shot that they released?
Oh, I saw an article that said, "Wow, first photos of the characters, and it's all silhouettes."
It's a silhouette of Kate
Like,
Blanchett or something.
This isn't a photo of the character. This is a silhouette that we already know because it's the same as the silhouette in the game. So at least they've got that bit right, I guess.
It's actually all silhouettes. It's great.
The whole movie.
Yeah, it's a little bit Sin City. Oh, if they went that strong,
Actually, that would be pretty good.
That would be pretty good.
Just take that solid black line art look to the sheer limits.
Yeah, because we've got Kate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jack Black, Kevin Hart. I guess he can hang with the others. They have to put a stool there for him, though. He's allowed to make the short jokes. Otherwise, it's a hate crime. Okay, we should talk about more than one game.
Yeah.
Next up, a surprise game, and I love these because they're a new Metal Slug game. And they've done something very clever. It's a tactical game. So it's turn-based, grid-based, and it lets you do the best thing of the Metal Slug games, which is look at that art for longer. So it's... I mean, I'm assuming they redrew the sprites, but they look exactly the same. And everything you do in Metal Slug is so readable and understandable. You're just watching that trailer, I'm like, I know how to play this game.
Yeah, and I like the battlefields were kind of small. Like, it was nice kind of like small scope of battle.
But sort of like, it reminded me of like Into the Breach scale.
Yeah. Like, it's not like Jagged Alliance, which was very big open. It's sort of more small. Yeah.
Seems a little bit smaller than like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
But in a similar vein. Yeah, just beautiful. And great look.
Gorgeous.
Yes,
Absolutely
I wonder
gorgeous.
if you can eat food and get fat.
Yeah. I hope so.
Okay, next.
We got our Death Stranding Director's Cut troll.
Yeah, it was a very good trailer.
Yeah, so it was...
Had a box in it.
Had a box. It had
An
all
event.
It was
Some
basically just being the intro to Metal Gear Solid 1, but through a Death Stranding lens.
Yeah.
And it got me very excited, and it'll give me a good excuse to play
So
it.
there is going to be a reveal I don't know, in a week or so. I can't remember what they said, but at the moment it just said PS5. So you may have to buy it again to do the director's cut.
Look, I'm gonna do it. it's gonna happen.
Do you know that Church's song? I don't know why that makes me emotional every time.
It's a bloody lovely song.
It's a good song. It's got some great fucking lyrics.
Yeah,
it's great. I love that song so much.
It's an amazing game. It's still, I would say, it's still my favorite game.
Our top 3 of that year is like the top 3 of the decade.
Yeah.
It's just like, because it was Disco Elysium, Outer Wilds, Death Stranding, and like if you ask me what were better games this decade, I'm like, none of those games are just unbelievably good. Then Jeff Goldblum was on screen to introduce Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Watch Jurassic Park Lost World. It's just
Isn't
last night.
it such a fantastic film?
I do love how we literally have like hundreds of things, but every time we mention anything,
Every
it's
game
like,
has a tangent.
let's talk about Game of the Year from 2 years ago. Let's talk about. Anyway,
I liked Lost World. I hadn't watched it in a long time. It's a pretty good sequel.
Yeah. I'm not saying I don't like it, but I also don't know if I agree that it's a pretty good sequel. It's like, it's a fun crap movie.
That's all you want with dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs still look real good.
What was the new latest one? The
Jurassic World latest, whatever the latest Jurassic World was.
Yeah, the one where it was like They took all the dinosaurs off the island to send them off to bidders and like, we're going to make so much money. We're going to sell them for $1 million. Oh man, the scale of money in that movie is like the funniest shit. Like that's what really drove it into like, oh, they are having a joke. It's good. I like having a joke. It's funny. Okay, yeah. So Jurassic World Evolution, I am interested to see because it is in that that universe where dinosaurs now just exist in the world. So I don't know what the gameplay is actually going to be.
And the last game was, I didn't play it, but it was very middling reviewed. So hopefully this one's kind of fixed up a bit.
I thought it was upper middle.
Upper middle.
It was well regarded.
Let's say
lots of
upper
people
middle.
that
It
were
wasn't
excited.
bad, but yeah.
Okay. Surprise drop. Sequel to Salt and Sanctuary, Salt and Sacrifice.
Hell yeah.
Although I did hear somewhere that it's not a sequel.
What is it, a prequel or?
No,
Just another game.
Apparently, it's just like maybe it's like an Evil Dead situation where they technically don't have the rights to Salt and Sanctuary, so it's just very similar.
I mean, yeah, it is the at least a spiritual successor.
Yes, that looks exactly the same and looks to play exactly
Yeah.
the same and is modern. Yeah, so that's our 2D Souls-like, which was I really liked that game. So glad to see that. I'm just going to skip things that are sort of either out or close to out we've spoken about before because there's shitloads to talk about. We officially saw 2 Point Campus, which we talked about last week as a leak.
Good fun.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Like the one pun they keep showing off and use for everything, but it's good to just have one thing to fall back on so you don't spoil the whole game. Is the kind of humor is there's a bunch of knights in a classroom because it's night school.
Yeah, that's the level of humor
Yeah,
they're at. Which I've never played a campus builder before, so
yeah. It's nice. A new game called the Anacrusis, which is one of the many Left 4 Dead likes that were revealed this year. It's a little bit like a 60s. Yeah, like I wouldn't even call it camp. It's just like 60s futurist sort of style. Where you're shooting a bunch of aliens and you're running through with your friends. As I say, I think the thing of the year was Left 4 Dead likes.
Yeah.
We're seeming to get a lot of those now because Battle Royale is dead.
Is it?
Going back to that old...
Yeah, name 2
Team
Battle
Co-op.
Royales.
Oh no, I
that
mean
were announced.
like I think is it just Battle Royale is solved?
Oh, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like the development's
Dead.
moved on.
We're done.
Yeah.
Because like only a developer that's really behind the ball would be like trying to release a battle royale at this time. So the battle royale, Vampire: The Masquerade Blood Hunt is releasing sometime in the future. So good for them for really.
Hey, are we going to
Been on the ball.
a new Painkiller?
Look, the word is there, but looking at that picture and the word Painkiller lets you know as much as was released.
Okay.
So there's a picture. There's a reason why that picture is of a man's face and not of a game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's him saying, "We're making a new Painkiller," but it's too early to do anything. Why say anything?
Why say anything?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people are anticipating getting all excited about Painkiller.
Because whilst we, as nerds, would say, "Ooh, Painkiller," I'll click on a trailer for that. That still puts us at like a very top tier of interest in Painkiller.
99% of the world's like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What,
So-
should I be interested?
Oh, I remember seeing that in the Barton bin. Yeah.
Oh, I loaded up. Speaking of confusing names, I loaded up Prey,
Yeah.
and Cheryl was watching me
Which
play.
Prey?
It. There's the most recent, the Arcane Labs,
Yeah.
Arcane Prey, and Cheryl just kept asking about the name
Why
and why it was called that, and saying, like, "So is that like the original Prey?" And I had to just like keep explaining. No,
There was a license available, so we put it on the front of the box.
So we were making the System Shock sequel, spiritual sequel. So we decided to call it Prey.
Because we could.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it really should have a different name.
Yeah.
It's not even a really appropriate name for the game.
No, because it's a System Shock 2 reboot, a System Shock reboot. It's more System Shock than Bioshock.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah.
Very briefly, Sky is finally coming to consoles. It seems like it's at least a year late on that one after the original announcement. That's that game company's latest game, which was mobile only, free to play, Journey-like, but multiplayer.
Yeah.
And I played it. I'm like, this is great. I can't wait to play it with controls.
Yeah.
And then it's 2 years now.
Yeah. It does have control support on iPad.
I don't care.
But, yeah.
As someone that's I subscribe to Apple Arcade 3 times a year, and every time I'm like, why don't I do this more? I'm like, oh, fuck this. That's why I hate everything about playing on an iPad. Anyway, that's just me. We all know that I'm just biased against iPads. Oh, okay. So we started seeing Far Cry 6 gameplay. We spoke about Far Cry 6 briefly last week because they had a little reveal. They showed off some bigger chunks. It's a real mixed bag of tones, which is what we've come to expect.
Yeah, it's a Far Cry game.
One trailer is about murdering people on a boat, and the next one is just about how fun it is to blow everything up.
I've been seeing the trailers for the
DLC?
No, just for the pets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like there was a crocodile wearing some kind of shirt.
He's wearing like a onesie.
A onesie.
Yeah.
There was
There's the
rooster with a studded collar.
There's Chorizo, the little dachshund.
It's going to be political, right?
Yeah.
They actually said it was going to be
It
political.
is. 100%.
Which is the thing, like, because the politics are going to be... Fascism is bad.
And that's how deep it's going to be.
Yeah. But that's, like, when they... And honestly, it's all they really need to be. Like, they're not there to make any deep statements or anything. But when then the earlier ones are saying there is no politics, it's like, what do you...
Yeah. Meanwhile, with like Far Cry 5, where they could have gone like there was the subtle commentary on American patriotism but no politics there.
And I mean, it was all religious cults and everything as well. People buying too far into these belief systems.
But that one wasn't political.
There's nothing happening in America at the moment that could
you can
line
draw
up
any
with.
parallel to. Yeah.
So Far Cry 6, the political game, they also announced the DLC. The most boring part of being there's including just a remaster of Blood Dragon. So yeah, I mean that's good. Whatever.
I never actually finished Blood Dragon, so
No, you didn't have 2 hours.
no. So I'm okay with playing a new one.
That's right. No, it's not a new one. It's the original one.
Oh, it's a very remastered one.
Yeah. It's just the same thing. Yeah. The other DLC, which seemed interesting, was that you play the antagonist of like the last 3 games. 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So you play from their point of view, and it had the protagonist from 3 getting what's his name? Not Va? Is it? It's not Vash.
Vass.
Yeah. Him delivering the line to Vass, saying like, "You know what the definition?" Anyway, that made me laugh. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna skip the rest of it up until the last game, which was of course Elden Ring.
Oh yeah.
So, I did not care about Elden Ring because I had nothing to care about yet.
Do you care about it now?
Yeah, I care about it now. So, I trust From. I don't trust George R. R. Martin. But
like,
also...
I'm sure that he wrote some things that they took and then incorporated into the
they
game.
they actually detailed what he wrote.
Okay.
Yeah.
I trust From to take a framework from George R. R. Martin.
What I kind of trusted was I trusted From to use George R. R. Martin's name as a marketing device and just say, could you make some names for us? And then just do the rest themselves, which is kind of all it was. I mean, he did a bit of the backstory of the world, apparently, and some of the core concepts.
But those bits are the bits that he's been okay at.
Yeah,
So-
probably. I don't know. I mean, I've never read any of the sort of Fire.
Oh no, the
Eyes.
books are really good. Like they're popular for a reason.
Yeah. But remember, I don't. And like, this isn't
Paul
a
doesn't
judgment on
care.
fantasy. Paul hates fantasy.
Paul doesn't
like,
care.
like Game of Thrones, I loved. Not for a single fantasy element. I liked it because it had really good actors playing fun characters. Now, you might be able to write good characters, which is what I would want to read it
That's
for.
what the books are for. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and because I think he used to write a lot of television, so like it's very good at each chapter is like a little episode, and it's like it's easy to take in chunks.
I'll give it a shot sometime. 'Cause I'm not-
They are really
yeah.
good, like genuinely very good books.
Because I always get turned off fantasy once it gets bogged into lore. Because when everyone's
well, that-
excited about like
yeah.
the new Game of Thrones, they're like, oh, it's going to be so good. They're going to tell us about like this part of history. It's like, I don't care about the history. You need someone that can write good characters there. And do you have anyone like that on staff?
Yeah, well, I would never got too bogged down in the
Good,
like, giving
good.
shit. It was all about the characters in the books.
Well, then I may try it sometime. Did anyone good read it? Anyway, Elden Ring. So Elden Ring. God, we are getting distracted on every single game.
It's great.
Okay, it doesn't. Eventually, we'll just go like
It's more open world.
We've got 3. Yeah, it's more open
There are
world.
horses.
So we'll call it a little bit Zelda
There's an
inspired.
insanity horse, I think, is the term I would use.
I just called it
I'm
a
not
horsey.
sure it's a horse.
It seemed pretty
based on
horsey to me.
some of the things it's doing.
It could jump.
It can jump for sure. Looks fun though.
Yeah, so it has more open world. It's sort of a bunch of different areas. You can sort of pick your own path through them, which Souls have dabbled in, but this seems to be almost getting a Breath of the Wildish style of just like, okay,
I've
head
had a
out
lot of
there.
people compare it to Shadow of the Colossus too.
Yeah, I got that kind of vibes from it.
Yeah,
I wonder if it'll lose any of the kind of connectivity that you get out of your Souls-like, where you're learning other passageways all open. Like, it's harder to have shortcuts when it's a big open world.
Well, it just matters how they build the paths in it. Like, I don't think it's going to be like climbing up walls like Breath of the Wild.
I'm glad that they're doing it. Like, it looks different. Like, it's not like Bloodborne was, like, it was Souls, a bit more actiony and different theme, but like mechanically it was quite similar. This one looks like they're pushing themselves out a bit more.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see, because there are some shots of that where you're like, oh, that's more enemies than I'd used to. Here, is this a bit more actiony? Or
I think it was today I saw that they've stated that it's not. They're toning the difficulty down compared to a Souls, but it's still still up there.
I mean, I know people like to have the arguments about, it's part of its whole thing to have difficulty and everything, and it's overcoming the challenge. But at a certain point, I really want to experience all of these games, but I really don't have the time to invest in them. So I've never finished any of them, and I've the results of YouTube, sort of getting the story beats and everything. So I would kind of like to just be a tourist in this world tonight, because some of those enemy designs and everything,
they look so cool.
It's so batshit. They've become so confident in making these real, like, surrealist, demonic things that I really have no reference for. Some of them, they just seem wholly original. That all those arms coming out of that horse. So Elden Ring, very excited for now. So that sort of wrapped up the show that wasn't even part of E3.
Nice. So now we're going to talk about the ones that are.
Yeah, kind of. There's
just a lot of scattered things. I don't think we can really call it E3 anymore.
Yeah, I guess
it's just the E3 time.
Yeah. They had Day of the Devs, but most of that was stuff we'd already seen. I'm just trying to see if there's anything there that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah,
not really.
No,
we'd seen
all that
that
stuff.
They had a deep dive into New World, which I didn't watch. Did you watch it, Sam?
I did not.
Well, then nobody watched it.
I might give it a watch. I'm kind of interested in what it is. I just Amazon. I don't know if I really trust them to do anything or release anything.
So there was a Tribeca game spotlight. And whilst I don't really think we need to talk about any of the games there, because we'd seen most of them before, it was a really good little show. It was part of the Tribeca Film Festival sort of spin-off. And it was like nicely put together with footage, with interviews. I was like, oh, I'd watch this again. It was just a fun show to watch. So I think Signalis was the only new game I hadn't seen there. But they had like Harold Halibut and Lost in Random and 12 Minutes, which is, of course, my big thing. And then, okay, now we get to come to the good stuff. Yeah. Well, actually, no, is that? Yeah, I'm going to talk about it anyway. Did you guys watch Cock Media?
No.
Nope.
What? You didn't watch the presentation of the show?
No.
Okay. So, Cock Media actually wasn't next. It was something else, but it doesn't matter. What was Cock Media? Okay. So, one of the reasons why I'm just saying the name over again and not any games is that it started with a quick montage of all the games they're going to show off. You're like, okay, this kind of looks like upper B tier stuff. Like, it could be interesting. So, okay. And then the show began. And I'm not saying this to make fun of the woman. I'm saying it to create a tone of the show. There was a woman there who'd obviously got out and got her hair done and put on a nice dress. And then she sat in front of a webcam with about half the screen being headroom and put headphones over her nicely done hair. And this is a big multinational, corporation's presentation. She proceeded to talk to every developer, mostly with giant headroom, badly lit webcams. Didn't seem that they were actually talking. Looked like they might have spoken and then they edited her going like, that sounds great. Very interesting. And most of the questions were, how great is it working for Cock Media? So they barely spoke about the games. They never showed any footage other than what was in that quick montage. So most games had about 5 seconds of footage. Half the games didn't show anything. And they didn't talk about the games. And it went on forever. And they paid all these streamers to co-stream it.
And they just made fun of it?
They just made fun of it or sat there in boredom until like their allocated time ran off. And they just turn it off.
That's what I want to watch.
It is amazing. Like, had they never seen... Did they not know what E3 was?
Yeah.
And certainly not what it is now. Like, maybe it could have been like some investor call video with like, hey, look, it's all these people we acquired and how much they love working for us. But no one else cares about that. And the thing is, I can tell you basically nothing about any of these games except for Codename Final Form, which I think was developers of Ruiner, making basically a Metroid Prime-like. Looked kind of interesting. Yeah. Didn't see much of it, though. I started seeing articles from journalists saying, oh, guys, the games are actually really good. They showed it to the press at another event, and we don't have any of that footage to tell you, but we can at least describe it to you. The games are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So they did know what E3 is. They showed everything to the press.
Yeah, and didn't give them any media to back it up or anything. So anyway, because
Do you think they accidentally got their E3 presentation and their internal presentation
Because we're
swapped?
right.
Like the file names were similar.
Yeah, there's like a really cool, just like here's our cool games coming up. Yeah, because they launched a new publisher called Prime Matter, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, after Cock, IGN Expo. Then we had more Gorilla, followed by Wholesome Games. I'm just quickly skiing through to see for new
Wholesome.
things.
I'm glad
Wholesome is such a
I'm glad
good
that
show.
Doki Literature Club's getting another
Yes,
release.
Yeah, it is.
that's very confusing for several reasons. One, how do you port it to a console when part of that game is messing? James, the trailer is it's a horror game.
Yeah. It's been given away.
The
at this
joke
point.
is the joke is gone.
Oh,
Nobody is playing Doki Literature Club on accident anymore.
okay.
It's like someone going to play Frog Factions. They didn't find a fun fraction game, and then it goes, oh,
To be
what?
fair, I did see that only 1 month ago. I saw someone in the little group of streamers that I follow. They tried out Frog Fractions, decided they were bad at maths, and stopped playing.
Oh, no.
And their entire community just went, "Please keep playing, please."
They must have played for a very short
It
amount of time.
was. It didn't take long for them to be fed up at maths.
So there's a Doki Literature Club Plus coming to consoles, which causes some potential problems, but I'm sure they'll work out ways
Yes.
around it because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I had some more material in there, and yeah, as I say, the trailer advertised it as a horror game, which kind of gives. I mean, the thing is, I still wouldn't call it a horror game. It has some horror elements, but yes, a classic game to get people to play that don't know what it is.
Or just go get it for free and play it.
It is a free
PC.
game.
Yeah, it's very good.
But what if this version's much better?
It could be.
Could be.
I would just like to note from the Wholesome list of
Yeah.
70 something whatever games.
I haven't actually got up to to the list yet,
Okay,
so
cool.
you can bring
We'll
up
wait till we
anything
get
though.
there.
No, I don't have to control it.
There's a game in there that released as they showed it. There's a few actually released when they showed it, but we seem to be in an era of people making snap games, and there's one in there. It was Alicon, something like that I've actually played, and it's Snap but better.
Wait, so Snap is in the card
As in
game?
Pokemon
Pokemon
Snap.
Snap.
Oh, okay.
As
okay.
in a taking photos of
Yeah.
animals game.
Because he said that first up when he was like, oh, there's so many Snap games, and I thought he meant like putting down the card.
that's
Snap.
right.
Camera.
And then
Yeah,
I
Pokemon.
realized what he was
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's one that's it's like the original Snap with like puzzles and things to figure out, and then there's this whole extra side thing on top of the Snap game that's like quests
Okay.
and like other puzzles in the world and mini games and talking to characters and like all this dialogue. It's fantastic.
Wholesome's a very good show. The first game it started off with was Bird Problems, which was just a sitcom starring birds. Wasn't sure how it was a game really, but it was a good intro to it. I was just checking out what came before that. And sorry, there's a bit of scrolling here. There's just so
There
much
are
shit.
a lot of video
See,
games.
There was it was the most full E3 ever. Really, it was all these presentations, so many games spoken about, and yet I'm just going to talk about sort of my overall impression here. I kept feeling like let down by things, and
Nothing stood out to me.
and I got to Nintendo, and we'll talk about Nintendo when we get up to it. But I watched it, and I felt quite flat at the end of it. And I think I said something about like, oh, there's a lot of nothing in that. And then I went back and I looked at the list of what they presented, and it's fantastic.
It's pretty massive.
There's a lot of things, like half the stuff there are like insta buys for me, like stuff I'm actually excited for. What I found really marked this E3 for me was the things that were not mentioned and missing. And those things, because there was nothing addressed at all, kept me feeling flat.
Yeah.
Well, don't you find it a bit overwhelming? Like, we're just looking through this list here
just so
of
many.
how many things, and all these
It's
games,
hard. It's hard.
they all look good.
It's almost an argument against E3 about spitting out these. It's like, hey, how about Sony
Just
takes June?
drip feed that to
And
us.
it's like-
Well, I'm just going to pick a random one. Let's see, whatever Core Keeper is. I don't know.
Oh, I can't talk about that one. I don't remember it.
I don't remember what it is either, but I'm just also...
I can talk about Martha is dead.
But more like, there's so many things there that all look at least competent.
Oh yeah,
Like, it's just... There's a lot of video games these days.
So many.
So many video games.
there was a demo for Unbound Worlds Apart, which is just on here as well, and I downloaded that on my Switch, and I played it, and it's a Metroidvania-y. You pick up a thing that makes a bubble between two universes, and you turn it on and off at will. And I played it and go like, wow, this feels really good. You've nailed the thing that you're supposed to do. Like, this is great. Maybe I'll play you one day when you come out. I don't know, because you're only very good.
Yeah.
And I might not have time for very good when you
bar
actually
for
launch.
like getting me to play something.
Yeah.
It's like, I've played 7 very good games like that this year already.
I think I've realized why I haven't finished a game in a while because I just keep hopping to something else.
Because look at that list.
Because there's just too many.
You know what helps finish games? Doing community radio where you actually do reviews for things. And
well,
then
part of me just wants to spin up a stream and not give a shit because it'll at least make me play games more.
Yeah.
Just fucking just 4-hour stream.
It is now at this point in my life. I go, I've got a few hours sleep. I could get up and play a game, or I could sit here in silence. Fire Girl we saw, which I only mentioned because I thought it was really cute. Its graphical style, it's just very pixelated. Little pixel fire girl going rescuing people with like a 3D environment around her. It seemed like a really good year for pixel art characters in cool environments, and we'll hit a few more of those as we go along. But they're all things that previously announced. We actually haven't got up to the Wholesome director. Because one of the trailers of the show, Unmetal.
Oh,
A new game from the developer of Unepic, and it is Metal Gear.
Unmetal Gear.
Yes,
It's a Metal Gear Solid. I'd say more.
No, it's MG.
It's regular old Metal Gear.
What was the? Because we don't say metal. There is another. MS was it? No.
MSG is an additive.
Yeah.
If you're about to say
No,
that.
it's just-
I wasn't, but I do like MSG.
Yeah, it's just like Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2.
Because we don't
here we go.
tangent enough.
Tangent enough.
I'm really pissed off. I think it's it's a burger joint or something out at the moment where they pick on KFC, and I don't care about picking on KFC, but they partly pick on it because it contains MSG. I'm like,
Doesn't everything?
I'm like, that the whole anti-MSG thing is just veiled racism, right?
It's just because it's delicious in everything and makes everything taste better.
It's anti-Asian propaganda. Just maybe don't base your entire ad campaign against it because it makes you. I don't want to eat your stupid burger anymore because you're picking on my MSG. Anyway, so Unmetal, it's a comedy Metal Gear. Thing. It's very funny. When your character is arrested in the beginning of the trailer, they say, "We're arresting you for a crime you didn't commit." The later line that was just great is there's a guard gets distracted by a cat, and then they hear a noise again, and they go, "What was that?" And your character says, "It's another cat." There's also a demo for that out on Steam currently, which we'll probably mention a few times going through this as we go. So Steam Next Fest is currently running until the 22nd.
More demos.
Hundreds of demos. So I'm already overwhelmed, and the only one I've played so far, I realized halfway through that it was a mobile game, and I said, hey, wait, is it already released in mobile? And it is. So I've been playing on my mobile phone now, the full version. Pretty good. Okay. Okay, cool. I've do-doed enough there.
We've got up to...
I'm skipping a few. We're up to Wholesome games.
Up to Wholesome games.
That's what I mean. Like, it was so much announced. Wholesome was, as I say, just watch the show. There were multiple...
It was lovely. There was
multiple
games.
pot cooking games.
And most of them look really quite fun.
Yeah, they've all got something for it. It's one of the few Twitter things I follow, just because the Wholesome brand, which is a very broad idea, but basically just small quirky games. Like that's my jam. That's what I do. I love it.
I'm gonna lose a lot of time to the 7 or something farming fishing games. Most of them with a witch theme now.
Yeah.
I'd probably play all of them.
I did love just how many of these games I've played demos for and already. It's
that thing of like there's 2 hot pot games, which isn't weird enough. It's weird that there's 2 of them.
Well, Soup Pot is a bit more like actually teaching you to cook to a bit, and I think Hot Pot for One
just sounds depressing.
It's a little bit more narrative. Yeah,
it's making me hungry.
It's like you're alone, so you cook a hot pot that you'd cook for 6 people.
Yeah, good times. Okay, we're now up to Ubisoft, so we got some big players coming in. Okay, some games. No, Ubisoft had some stuff that I was like, they showed off sort of what would come out the final version of Rainbow Six Extraction, which is their PvE spin-off of Rainbow Six Siege, where you and the operators have to go in to basically rescue other operators from aliens. Not zombies, no, it's actual aliens. About the only big... Well, so, yeah, I like the idea because I feel intimidated to do Siege at all.
Oh, Siege is crazy hardcore.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's
it's one of my favorite ones to watch.
Yeah.
But playing it, God no.
Yeah.
No.
So just against some aliens seems fun. It's all, I believe it's just all the operators from the game. Maybe not all of them, but a bunch of them. But also, if you go down during a game, that operator is no longer available to you because now they're captured, and you have to go extract them. So that's fun. Force you to play other people. I wonder if your friends haven't got that operator tape, whether they can play it. We shall see. So yeah, that it could be interesting. Go either way, but I certainly would check it out. Next up, they announced new Rocksmith Plus. There are a few changes here. It's now a service. So they're working out how can we monetize this better.
Can I still use my old dongle?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, you can. You also don't need to. So they're adding support for, I believe, microphones as well, but also just using your mobile phone to pick it up.
Okay.
So they've currently got a beta that you can sign up for, which I'm very interested in trying. They support electric, acoustic, and bass guitar. And I like it as a service. I think it's a fair thing. If there's not like costs on top to have other songs, this is like Open Guitar or whatever I think it is. They have a service.
Yeah, because I guess this is the thing where if you're having people around and you can drop $15 or something to get it for a month and then have a party and people play. That's the kind of thing you're talking about, right? As a service.
Well, no, I don't know it'll be a good party game because they're very focused on it being its guitar teaching tool.
That's a good point. It's not Guitar Hero.
Yeah, because it is probably... They do have simplified things, so you could potentially do it, but it isn't quite the plastic instrument fun of Guitar Hero. But I can certainly see, I'm back... I come and go with playing guitar these days. I can get on here, actually get accurate tabs for songs that actually listen to me and grade me, and if it works, and that's what I want to try. I think that's fair as a service because especially since they constantly expand the catalog as well, that seems good. I'm happy with that idea. Next up, they showed off more Riders Republic, which looks kind of rad. For some reason, people have jets on their backs now. I thought it was just supposed to be normal extreme sports, but it's fantasy extreme sports.
Now more extreme.
Yeah, they're super extreme. If those jets explode, you are fucked. I'm interested in seeing more of that. But just lots and lots of people doing lots of extreme sports around each other. Just Dance 2022.
The usual.
More fuck rye. Then we got the announcement that was leaked beforehand, but still cool. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. New Mario plus Rabbids game. And it's cosmic now. So they're going through different planets and having fun. And it's Mario and his weird, creepy rabbit friends. New rabbit doppelgangers to terrify you. It's just like
Rabbit Rosalina.
It's not grid-based anymore.
No, which is disappointing.
I'm not disappointed by it.
I still think it'll be fantastic, but I liked the limitations of the grid.
I just think they'll have different limitations. You might have a different answer to everyone else I've asked this. Did you finish Mario plus Rabbids?
I did.
Okay, I thought you might have had a different one. You're the only person I know that has.
It was fantastic.
It's a very good game.
I haven't 100%ed it, but I finished it.
I did tire of it before the end.
It got a bit grueling.
Yeah, so them mixing it up with a different take on a similar concept, I'm cool to see what that is. They were smart. And
I'm sure it'll still be just as good because it was a fantastically built little strategy game.
Being off grid is fine as long as it's clearly communicated what's going on.
Yeah. It seemed still seemed very clear.
Because what you don't want is that, there's a tiny bit of cover that
I didn't move 30 centimeters.
Yeah, so as long as
that's always my big worry. It's like, you need the your final position. Now show me the range of my next move so I make sure I haven't just missed being able to shoot someone or whatever. But I'm sure they're not going to be stupid. I mean, they were so clear in the first game. Yeah. I can't imagine they'd have lost seeing the importance of that kind of communication. But great to see. Now, then we had the surprising game, which apparently has been known for a while, but everyone forgot about it. Apparently it was announced 3 years ago.
I think most people forgot about the movies too.
Yeah, Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora. James Cameron's Avatar is back in video game form.
We're still getting like another 6 of them, right? Like the movies are still
Is this
coming.
the plan?
Yeah, I think there's either 3 or 4 that he's filming currently.
He's taking his time so
think
he
he's-
can eventually
I
just
think
film it
he's-
on
yeah.
location.
He's finished. I think 2 of them has finished filming, and he
Yeah.
might be finished filming the 3rd at the moment.
It was what now about 8-9 years ago? Has it hit the 10-year mark yet?
Yeah, I think it's
So-
Must be
I
getting
think it
close.
has.
Actually, no, you're probably right. I think it would have
It's
hit the 10-year
more
mark.
than 10.
Yeah.
Surely.
And it's
If only we could look it
its
up.
legacy is a super successful, beautiful, forgettable film.
Yeah.
It's like they keep pushing it like it's the biggest. Like
2009.
they built the nice. They built the theme park for it. They keep doing more and more stuff, and it's like
I feel like
Avatar's had like no impact on.
I feel like I'm told that it has had more influence than it actually has. Like Titanic, I can see is a thing that has entered popular culture. It's a very good movie. Like it's had like some like long running impact.
The biggest thing it was supposed to be doing was the whole 3D
Yeah.
tech, and it's like that hype.
That's
It's
come and gone.
It's come and gone.
And like as a movie, like it's gorgeous, but like the plot isn't it just a plot of
It's just Fern
like,
Gully in space.
Dancing with Wolves or something?
Dancing
or-
with Wolves and Fern Gully.
Yeah, or Fern Gully. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fern Gully. I'm pretty sure it says Fern Gully.
Yeah,
Hey,
look, it had people fucking fucking
It had
animals with their hair.
weird hair sex, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, it's weird that they established that the hair thing is sex, and then it's like, and this is how we connect to our donkeys. And the mech had a big knife.
yeah.
And that's all I really remember.
Sure was a movie.
Yeah,
with
but
unobtainium
we're
or whatever
getting
it was.
but this cool-looking video game made by Massive, who make Division, they're also working on a Star Wars game at the moment.
So they're just
So-
taking all the...
Yeah, I don't think we're
All the
seeing another
stuff.
Division for a long
yeah,
time.
no, that's I'm totally cool with them making a Star Wars
Look-
game. I like Division a lot.
And, you know, Avatar, totally acceptable setting for a video game. I'm down. So yeah, we'll see more.
It's
I
just,
wonder
it's
if
just a
it'll...
weird license. It's just
Yeah.
it's just
Don't you like floating islands in space?
I do. I like them a lot.
There you go. Great. Fun. I've got another game later that's going to blow your mind then, James. Okay, then we got up to the show of the show, which is, of course, Devolver Digital had their yearly conference, which did not disappoint.
Yeah. And they continue the Devolververse.
Yeah.
They made us think they weren't going to. And then they did.
Yeah, so Devolver, if you're somehow unaware, every year have something of a mock conference, which has lore and a continuity.
Yeah, and characters and
And it's very funny and it's very scathing. I'm very interested to see, because Devolver are planning to go public, I believe. But I feel like they'll be very scathing on themselves for that option. So we shall see.
yeah, I might get some Devolver shares. Maybe.
I feel like that's an okay buy.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I feel
They're a good publisher.
yeah, I reckon you
They-
got
I don't think they miss.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe 10 years until they become genuinely
Yeah.
evil. But
Because
well,
like they had a big sale when the conference went live,
Yeah.
and I went to Steam and go, let's have a look. What can I buy? I was like, oh, I already
I own everything.
Like,
Yeah.
I think there was like 2 or 3 games I didn't own
What-
because I had them on other platforms. Like,
What
oh.
so we have a pretty good relationship with the reps for Devolver in Australia, and what I have meant to say to them but haven't, because I did recently just say to them, you realise we're just big fanboys, right? That whilst I have been given keys for them for almost every game, I have also almost bought every game with my own money on another platform. So they really haven't lost anything with it. So they showed off Shadow Warrior 3, which just continues to look like itself. Then they had one of my games of the show, which I only realized afterwards because I was writing another little piece on it, is made by the developer that made the Eternal Castle Remastered, which was an absolutely beautiful cinematic platform, which was a fake old game that they've like, oh, we've remastered this game from the 80s, but it's just it was another world. Like, it was really, really cool. So this is Trek to Yomi, which is based on sort of 50s, 60s Japanese samurai cinema. It's a cinematic side-scroller again, and it looks unbelievable.
it's shockingly beautiful.
Yeah, they put up one of those, like, all this footage is not pre-rendered, is in-game, and it needed it.
Yeah.
Because even though it is still a side-scroller, it has so much going on. when they put that Kurosawa mode in bloody what was the
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima, I was very scathing. It's like, because Kurosawa doesn't mean black and white. Yes, most of his movies in black and white. He also shot in color. Because it was available to him. He liked color. It's like, it doesn't just mean black and white and grain. This fucking thing, though, whilst it's not specifically Kurosawa, does actually start hitting those style points of like, oh, this is actually samurai film here. It's not just a samurai in black and white. It's almost stop motion-y. It feels... Oh, it's so beautiful. If you haven't seen Trek to Yomi, look it up. I'm very excited. And I don't really know how it's... I mean, I guess I feel I do know how it plays. I turned on the speaker on my computer so we could watch that awesome trailer before here. And now it's going to drive me mad. I need to go get it. Or I'll scream at everyone.
Just go do it.
Sort it out.
It's another one. There we go.
Stop talking to me, friends. Friends are the worst.
This is, Paul's paid someone to message him while we were
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah.
So I think he has other friends than us.
Yeah.
They showed more Phantom Abyss,
Which I'm super excited for.
I'm very excited for. I've become slightly less excited. It's actually a Brisbane game, which is cool. It is this parkour.
It's Mr. Shifty Devs, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. Shifty Devs. Under a new name, I believe. And you go into this temple, and there's ghosts of other players running through it, and every time someone dies, you get kicked out of the temple. You only get one go at it. If someone reaches the end of the temple, that temple disappears, and they've won it. Only one person in the world wins every temple.
That was a bit I wasn't sure about.
Yeah,
Because if I'm trying to just beat one, it's a bit kind of like anticlimactic if I've almost mastered it, and then someone else finishes it.
but you can't almost master it because you can only play it once.
You can only play it once.
Oh,
and
okay.
whilst you're in a temple, no one else can be in that temple.
So
Okay.
when I first looked at it, I was like,
fully asynchronous.
I was like, this is a cool race, and then I
It's not a
realized
race.
it can never be a race.
No.
And whilst that's fine, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it, I do kind of want to race.
Yeah. It is a game that looks like it's racing, and it's 100% not.
Yeah, because you being there means no one else is doing it.
The real trick is how many people are going to go into the temples with the goal of not completing it, but with the goal of leading someone into the wrong
Into
place.
traps and shit. Yeah, that could be fun. But I also wanted to be able to like, and now I'm just projecting my own desires on a game, which is a bad thing to do. But sometimes this is a strong concept, so it excites me. Which is, it's what's good about the game. But I do want to like take a seed and just share it with my friends and have us all having like multiple runs and attempts at it, and being like back and forth at either. Like, pass the same one back and forth.
Yeah.
You got it.
Not being able to redo a temple is the odd bit, I think.
I would not be shocked if that feature makes its
Makes
way
it
in. Yeah. I don't know. Like, there is just something about... Like, when I think about that I think about something like Super Meat Boy, where you want people doing this to try and get that best run. But I don't know. Maybe
it looks fun.
Yeah. Oh, it looks good.
Like
yeah,
I've watched.
I'm not convinced by that strategy of it's not replayable.
I feel like that stuff can still be asynchronous. So it could come in like if you took a private seed and shared it between two people, or something like that doesn't seem that hard. Me saying as a non-game developer, but it seems like the systems there are. They can record and they can... but yeah, I mean, and the only reason we start having these feelings is because it is a very strong looking game.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Wizard with a Gun.
What a fantastic name.
Great name.
Straight off the mark.
Great video.
I was a bit confused after they were showing it that it turns out to be a sandbox survival game.
Look, I have to admit something here. I've forgotten everything about this game except the name, and I have not forgotten the name.
It's Don't Starve, except you're a wizard with a gun.
Wizard with a gun.
Sold.
It's got a very cool animation.
So the premise is that you're casting spells on your bullets
Nice.
to then shoot them.
And then it's Don't Starve.
And Sweet. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Death's Door, which we've already spoken about before. It looks bloody fabulous. Inscription, which I think we have mentioned before a while ago. It's from the developer of Pony Island.
Yeah.
And The Hex.
And it looks like it's taken... I'm pretty sure taken inspiration from Hand of Fate. It looks like... At least like the base of it.
I don't think so at all.
You don't reckon? Well, like it's got like... Hand of Fate... I can't think of another game apart from Hand of Fate that's got like you with like someone sitting opposite you, like with playing with cards and some kind of fate dealer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just like tarot cards, though. So any game that's had tarot cards has had that.
Yeah.
Because this game is then about getting up from the
Oh,
table
like,
and...
no, like, I know, I know, like that's only one part of it.
Yeah.
But that one part to me looks, I get a lot of Hand of Fate vibes from it.
I think it's just because someone's laying down cards in front of you. Because I
Well,
heard
the
other
dealer-
people say it too, and I'm like,
yeah.
what are you
No,
comparing it
I
to?
think that just
Want to take James to a casino and go play poker or blackjack and be like, hey,
Oh,
James,
you're just gonna
let's
say
play
it's
Hand of Fate.
This is just like Hand of Fate. Oh, I've got to fight 2 Ace of Spades.
No, like I was talking about that giant hand that was walking around.
Yeah. Oh man, Carandia, what a series! There was an announcement of Devolver Tumble Time, which was a mobile game that wasn't available which seemed like a real missed opportunity.
It felt like a game that was like, it's out now.
It should have been out right now.
Should have been,
Yeah.
Because I was typing.
What a song!
I was typing Tumble Time into my phone before they got to the end of that trailer, and all I found was them saying like, "Subscribe here to get a notification when it's available." It's some hot, funny trash. And then
it's just that Disney game, right? But with not Disney characters.
I don't know.
There's a Disney game that works like that.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. And finally, we had a reveal of Demon Throttle, which is I think it's the Kato Roboto devs are making a very old school sort of action. Would you call it? It's shmup like. It's not really shmup though. It's what was that sort of? It's like that sort of
Shmuppy.
Yeah, the sort of scrolling.
Yeah.
I can't think of what I'd call that genre. Anyway, and you can only buy it physically. That's its gimmick.
What a gimmick.
Yeah.
And I went to that
A
site.
physical only Switch
And I
release.
considered it very highly, and I did not.
I was wondering, like when they said that, I was wondering about the like the deal that happened for that, because I expected the Devolvers came along with a buttload of cash. Oh, it's probably not even a buttload. Just like, how much money would you have made from this game? Nah.
I think they came and said like, we think you could make a little bit more if we do this
And
stupid
then you have
gimmick.
to say to Nintendo, be like, this game exists, but don't put it on the eShop.
It has like the best like CRT emulation I've ever seen. I was like, wow, this looks just like a terrible CRT. They've nailed it. Then we had the Gearbox presentation, which was the second worst presentation of the show. But I mean, really, there's nothing new to talk about. Tiny Tina,
No.
Homeworld 3,
Homeworld
they
3.
said it's existed, and Godfall's coming to
Might as well have not existed,
PS4.
like Gearbox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I haven't seen that happen before. A game releases on new hardware and then a year later is back ported. Okay, cool. A bunch of stuff from Upload VR, but nothing really jumped out at me. Anything from you guys?
No.
Not
I
particularly.
think I do find it a bit weird that we have 7 Max games that we don't care about.
I stopped caring about 7 Max a long time ago. That's just not the same. Okay, now let's get to Microsoft.
Microsoft.
No, I won't be doing that. So Todd Howard's jacket, great disappointment this year. Just like a hoodie. Like, fuck. What happened? When he got bought by Microsoft, did they go like, get rid of your cool jackets? It's just hoodie
they bought
time.
his personality as well.
Oh,
That's
no.
what it was.
He bought it for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It's part of the deal. They're like, we'll buy you, but on the condition you don't express
you
yourself.
You can't look cool with Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
Phil Spencer's wearing his jackets.
in the contract.
Every morning, Phil just sends a picture of what he's wearing, and Todd's like,
It's all at Microsoft.com.
Anyway, so first up, they showed Starfield.
Yeah, they opened with the big one.
Yeah. Which was so heavily rumored it had leaked the day before, including it was a slightly different trailer with more information on it. But yes, so Starfield, they showed us that it's a space game, and
There's a man in space,
Yeah.
a woman in space.
there's a
whatever
robot,
it
and there's a
was.
spaceship, and there's a sandwich. And
Sandwich did look pretty good, though.
and there are some scratches on glass that people are convinced
I fucking
is the
love
map
this.
for Elder Scrolls 6.
I fucking love this
I saw
so
that.
much. Like,
It looks almost similar.
how deep into the hole do you have to be pulling apart that kind of stuff?
We were talking about this before the show, and we just want to remind all listeners that Bethesda is a one game at a time studio. They have not begun production on the Elder Scrolls 6.
Maybe they have an idea.
I'm sure they have
Because
ideas.
they showed us a
They did
a
some.
thing.
They've done some concept
I'm
art.
sure,
They're doing
like,
some of that
there's-
pre-production work. It's definitely
probably
happening.
a whiteboard
They're
with,
not
with,
at-
with some of the regions listed, and they've crossed some of them out.
They're not at AIG level yet.
Yeah. They are going like, oh, I've got this idea for Starfield, and they're like, we could use that in Elder Scrolls afterwards. And we go, yeah, that'd be great.
What a good mechanic to have in our new engine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're building it, but be very prepared for this number. Take the number of years Starfield has been in development, 8 to 10, depending on how you're counting. Now take its release date, 2022. Now add that number to that number.
And
That's Elder Scrolls
that's Elder
6.
Scrolls 6.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, I just had like a small existential crisis.
And that's
thinking about the
assuming they
limited
don't
number of
remaster
Elder Scrolls
Skyrim.
games that I
Yeah.
get in my life.
Well, I remember when they first announced it, I was at work and there was a Sparky there that day. And most tradies I don't talk games with, they don't seem particularly interested. But he'd been watching E3 and he was excited. I'm like, oh, what's really purchased? Oh, I can't wait to play the new Elder Scrolls. I'm like, okay,
You're gonna
put this in
have to.
perspective. You know how you just recently had a child? Yeah, I go, your child will be old enough to play that game when it comes out. And he looked at me as if I'd torn him to shreds. I'm like,
You just ruined that man's
it's
year.
like, why would they announce it? I'm like, because people would be asking them if they were going to make it for the amount of time if they didn't. They're just stopping people from asking them. Anyway, so on to happier things. So Starfield, I mean, the graphics looked nice. It's a space game.
Yeah.
There
It
was
was a
a
good
robot
looking
and some
sandwich.
things.
Yeah,
But-
I like that kind of style they've gone with the sci-fi.
I do have a thing where, because it just keeps going like, it's Elder Scrolls in space. And there's a certain point where I go like, yeah, but what does that mean exactly? What, like,
It means the physics are really janky.
what is the standard quest that I do?
It means I have to figure out how to be a stealth archer with a spaceship.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
That's what it means.
I don't think it fully translates.
I need
think it's-
cloaking tech and small missiles.
Yeah.
Well, the bit that I'd like to know is with Elder Scrolls or any Bethesda game, they're all about taking a lot of stuff and condensing it into a kind of big area. So the areas are dense for you to walk around and do stuff, like artificially large areas.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they do. What does that mean for planets?
And if there's multiple planets, like, do you zone off a planet? Are the
Do they
planets just
do
really weirdly
Outer
small?
World style?
Yeah.
Like that's the bit I don't know. Be like,
And I'm kind of happy for any implementation.
Yeah.
I'm just interested to see in what
I
they
want
do.
to know because that's how they do things is to take big, make it small.
Yeah.
But how do you do that with space?
It's kind of big.
It is very big.
Did you? What was the size? Can't
Maybe they'll take small and make it big. Just flip things on its head.
They could, and it's just like sparse and full of nothing.
Just really sparse it.
Okay. Starfield. Then they said Stalker 2 is coming out next year, and I don't believe them. It looked fine.
Yeah.
I had no commentary really. It just looked fine. Actually, I've skipped back for Blood a few times because it came up on a few
we had the
shows.
conversation about this is the year of Left 4 Dead likes.
Yeah, it's the Left 4 Dead like year.
The problem is there's
seems
two Left 4 Dead.
Yes. I do think it looks better than it did last time we saw it, though. Don't know if it's enough for me to care, because it is still just Left 4 Dead.
The problem is that we played Left 4 Dead recently, and I realized that I am done with Left 4 Dead. And so the
So
idea
now
of...
you no longer want Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, because it's just more Left 4
Yeah.
Dead, and I'm done with Left 4 Dead.
Well, I think, is it Second Extinction? The dinosaur Left 4 Dead like that's in early access at the moment. I haven't played it yet, but Cal at work had been playing it. And he just said, I said, it's just Left 4 Dead, isn't it? He goes, oh no, it's a world and then you do missions in it. I'm like, ooh,
Okay.
I can get down with
See,
that.
that immediately sounds better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because kind of like the gauntlet runs of Left 4 Dead was quite
Yeah,
tiring.
get from point A to B, don't die.
Yeah. So that seemed cool. There was
And I just want Dark Tide.
Dark Touch should be good. Which we didn't even when they had the Warhammer event, which was advertised as like a Dark Tide thing. It's like skulls. The only thing they did for Dark Tide was announce the writer. I'm like, oh, I guess you would have a writer. I just thought it was going to be things shooting each other. Well, some things biting each other. So we had an announcement of Contraband, which there wasn't much known about. It's just Avalanche's new game. It's an Xbox exclusive. Sea of Thieves is crossing over with Pirates of the Caribbean. Hey, I'm Johnny Depp. That's about as good as impression of the guy doing it in the thing is. Actually, it's fine. I'm fine with his
I'm pretty
impression.
interested in what this ends up being. Like, if it's more of like content to play through, like, how much game they're adding?
it's a full story content.
Yeah.
It looked like it's a little mini
Because
campaign.
they said it's like, it's all new original story.
Yeah.
So it's like a full campaign.
So
If I can load in and play through this with some friends without being constantly ganked.
Well, you can anyway, because you can just join when you play Sea of Thieves. Now you pick if you want to go and play ganky Sea of Thieves, or you just want to play Sea of Thieves.
Oh, can you play unganked?
There's still some gankiness, but you're more likely to be not encountering anyone except the people you're playing with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
I've got a couple of friends who play it like nightly, and they have a lot of fun.
I've been after an excuse to get back into Sea of Thieves and kind of see where it is now.
Yeah. And yeah, whilst I think Pirates of the Caribbean has run its course somewhat, it's just
It's fun.
Say,
Why not?
for some more
It's a
focused
perfectly
story
good
concept.
thing to match it up with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really.
exactly. The only thing is that like because they want to make the models a little bit more like the characters, but the characters in Sea of Thieves are hideous monsters, and so it's a slightly different art style. in that
It
game.
reminded me a little bit of Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
it did
Yeah.
actually. It looked like
Whereas they're
They've
just not
tweaked it
quite,
slightly, it's
not
not
quite
quite-
meshing up, not quite there.
it's when you buy the character off of Wish.
Yakuza Like a Dragon already out, but the announcement was that it's available on Game Pass now.
Which means I'll probably play it.
I'm going to go play it because I want to meet that piss wizard.
I really want to play Yakuza games. I just don't have that time investment.
Yeah, that's what I've had previously. I kind of am interested in playing them now on newer hardware because there was a lot of waiting for load times in the PS4 era, and there's a lot of different things in the game and a lot of cutscenes, and
It's a
more
lot of
waiting
load
didn't help.
times, yeah.
I was like, okay, I wonder if I can just kind of second screen this game a lot. And I think especially in Like a Dragon, because it's no longer an action game, it's now a Dragon Quest inspired turn-based thing. I'm like, maybe I can do this. Let's find out. Because there's so much good in those games I see. I'm like, I just don't have the investment time. But yeah, maybe. We actually kind of missed an earlier discussion about it, but we're back to it now. Battlefield 2042. It was announced the night we recorded the last episode. And it is, so 2042. It's not 2142.
Not that far in the future.
No.
A little bit in the future.
It's a little bit in the future. And they watched Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol or whatever and said that Dubai scene where they're up high and then there's a dust storm, we can do that.
They had the videos of people jumping out of jets and shooting.
I appreciate they did that in trailer form.
Yeah.
They're just like, let's take all the things people really enjoy as a community about Battlefield.
Well, I did like, the cinematic trailer started and it was like serious military stuff to the point that a couple of those scenes I actually thought were like a little bit like gross, like people being slaughtered very realistically. I'm like, this is why I don't like realistic stuff that much. And then they slowly kept changing the tone until they started doing and we acknowledge that this is actually what Battlefield is, which is
driving cars into helicopters,
Yeah.
getting
that
out of your
thing.
plane to rocket someone else.
And that was the
plane.
cinematic trailer. And then when they showed the gameplay trailer, they did all the same stuff in the game for real. Which was nice.
Yeah,
it was just a cute touch.
They basically just mirrored the cinematic trailer
Yeah.
with gameplay. It was pretty cool.
I'm actually pretty keen on it.
Yeah,
looks good.
I enjoy that they're really leaning into the silliness of it. I mean, I'm always a big fan of verticality, and they've got all their wingsuits and grappling hooks.
And it's high player counts, and they seem to be making a lot of...
128 and pad it with bots, which I thought was interesting.
It'll be interesting because one of the things is that whilst we're 128 and PS5 and Xbox Series X is 128, last gen is 64.
Right.
So it'll probably be a bit of an empty experience.
Which means they can't cross-play with...
So it's 64 and 64 bots.
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
If you load it in PS5, it's crossplay, but then they just dump more bots
I
into
think
your
they said
version.
the maps are also smaller.
Okay.
So it is a slightly
Yeah,
different
it's
game on
different.
last generation. So... obviously, just get a better computer or a new console.
Yeah,
What are you? What are you better with?
Yeah, just with all your privilege, just go and get your computer.
Yeah, so I actually am kind of excited. Yeah. So I was watching some deeper dive stuff, and they were sort of talking about how because they have things like the Dubai thing, which they're mainly actually is it Dubai or is it just a?
I think it's just a place.
It's
not Dubai.
It's just a big
I don't
city
know
place.
much.
Yeah. I don't know what Dubai actually looks like. I just see tall buildings in a desert. And I go, it must be Dubai. I'm an idiot. And I saw Mission Impossible. Yeah, that's the only reference I can make. But anyway, it's this. So it's nice and clear, but there's this dust cloud that comes in, and then sometimes a tornado can come through, and that's path and its timing and everything is totally randomized. And it's just really destructive, and it rips you up in the air. So it's everyone spinning around in the air.
I'm already seeing the trick shots coming from tornadoes.
Oh, there's going to be some very funny things.
What I really like about that high player count is that, like, it's one of the reasons I like PlanetSide 2, where as soon as there's a massive number of players, it becomes more about the actual meta of how you. Taking the points and things.
Yeah.
Like, you still have the opportunity for the high skill play, but if you're someone like me that doesn't want to put in all the time to get to that level of high
Crazy
skill play,
professional player can still be killed by 20 people.
Yeah. And so, that's why I don't mind the bot thing either. Like, having just some things in there which are kind of fodder. Like, that was always really fun in Titanfall. Yeah. So, yeah, like, I like it's going to be big. I think it'll be less frustrating to play because it'll feel more like I'm trying to win the battle, like rather than I'm on the individual fights. If I keep dying but my team's winning because I'm making smart decisions about where I'm going, it means I'm less likely to get frustrated if I'm playing something like COD, where someone's just, like, they're really good and they're killing you a lot. I'm pretty keen on it. Like, and no single player as well, which
is both good and bad. Like, even though I liked playing through the Battlefield single players, I haven't done it since 1, which I guess was only 2 games ago.
I was interested to hear, I had a friend comment that they now think it's overpriced because there's no single player campaign. Like, it's still like this. There is still this idea that it's only part of a game.
It's always interesting. Well, it's like when you look at the actual stats for COD. It's like, it has these millions of players that constantly play it for like years. At least a year on ending by the next one. But at the moment, there's been some real long tails on it. But it's still like, but 40% of people still buy it, play the single player, and then trade it in or whatever. It's like, okay. So, I mean, there's a reason they keep putting campaigns in it. But also, I mean, at a certain point, it's hard to do both.
And I don't mind Battlefield, just them focusing in on make it about big open world shooting, where there's like lots of interesting ways that you can work together to take points and have this person go off and like impacts this thing down here and have the planes flying and like knowing that's fixing something over there.
So since this is one of the 3, I'll just mention that also in this Microsoft conversation, every one of these games except for this and 2 others are on Game Pass. So when we said Back 4 Blood before, and we're like, a bit effort, we can just download it and test it and see if we like it or not.
Yeah, we'll play it.
Yeah, it's like we can still just give all these things a go, which is great. That includes the next game, which we've already mentioned once, 12 minutes. So if you've got Game Pass, you don't have to buy 12 minutes now. You can play at that.
God,
I bet you'll buy it anyway.
Oh, yeah. I need it on every platform.
Game Pass is just too good.
Including Psychonauts 2. And now I'm like, why did I back it on Fig? Yes, I mean, Psychonauts 2 is out soon. It looks fabulous. I actually kind of turn away when it's on because I'm like,
you're going to play it anyway.
I bought it already, and I get it for free anyway. And all this game is like cool things to discover. I don't need to see any of it beforehand.
Show it to me.
New Fallout 76 stuff. Skipping it. Oh, Hades getting an Xbox release, which also means Game Pass. So now you can get on that. Next up, we had the reveal of, well, apparently there were a little bit earlier things, I just hadn't seen them, of Somerville, which isn't by Playdead. It's by one of the developers from Playdead who left and called his new company Jump Ship.
Which is the best fuck you I've ever heard of.
Yeah. So this game, which is extremely similar to Inside and Limbo, but you're kind of a family surviving sort of during post an alien invasion, and it looks
pretty fantastic,
beautiful and emotional, and it takes a lot of cues from Inside. So I'm expecting it to be bloody fantastic. I hope so. Be cool. Then the Halo Infinite is back, and it looks pretty much the same.
Yeah. They announced the PvP mode is going to be free to play.
Yep.
Which I'm totally cool for.
Good choice.
Yeah, really good choice.
The multiplayer's got a few interesting choices. So yeah, it's free to play. So you don't need anything, and that means you don't even need gold. You don't need gold anymore, do you? On the thing. So everyone can play it. Of course, they want to monetize it, so they're having all the things we're currently used to, namely. Is it season passes?
Battle Pass.
Battle Pass, that's the word I'm looking for. With one major difference, which apparently is already a thing in the Master Chief Collection, where they do not expire.
Yeah.
So when you buy a Battle Pass, it's not like, now you've got 1 month to get all the levels up and get all the gear. you just keep it.
I'm so happy for that.
And you can buy multiple battle passes, so it means that when you do get the next level, you can say, actually, put that level on that battle pass, please. So, whilst it still wants you to play the game a lot, which is the thing that turns Paul off, because I only play games a little bit.
But now they at least seem achievable. Like,
yes, and I think it's a great choice
You're
for
not
that.
time constrained into a window.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, even if I was like a Fortnite player or anything, Fortnite has battle passes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I think they do.
Call of Duty does. I know it does. Let's say Call of Duty. Even if I was, because of my time constraints, I just know I never have time to do it in that, which stops anyone that can't put that amount of time in from even engaging in that system. But if it's like, I can just play this over the next year and it's fine, maybe I do throw something into it.
And
it seems smart.
The PvP looked really good too. Like, it was really kind of going back to kind of old school Halo with vehicles and all kinds of crazy shit going on.
It had a lot of options going on.
Yeah, and especially after like wanting something like that out of Destiny for a very long time, and them not doing anything with vehicles or anything particularly interesting, seeing that like kind of real classic kind of Halo PvP coming back, that's going to be free, so the community is going to be nice and solid and strong.
I tell you, I am worried about one thing.
What's that?
I noticed we're talking about the multiplayer a lot.
Oh, yeah, I didn't really care about this.
Well, you didn't need to, because they showed shit all of it.
Yeah.
In fact, when they said, like, here's the gameplay trailer, it was a multiplayer game trailer. And they did have some little things on the single player, but really seems to be prioritized. I'm like,
it could just be they're just silently working on it. I mean,
but they're both releasing this year.
Yeah.
They had a release date for Diablo 2 Resurrected, which I didn't remember.
Late this year.
Yeah,
Sometime, whatever.
Sometime not that far away.
I feel like a lot of people are going to be burnt on that game when they realize it's an old game.
Yeah. Yes, so they have just changed the render and
Well, yeah, I was actually a little bit saddened when I was like, oh, they're literally running the old game in the background, which means the same animation and timings and everything.
I think that the control, like, it might be best playing with the controller.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with it, because it is still the old game running in the back.
Yes, but I think that at least they will have put some quality of life things on top of that, however they've done it. Like, the main thing is, like, it's still, like, very limited in how you access abilities and things like that. Like, it's the same UI, just sort of on top. So, yeah, I'm hoping with the controller stuff, there's enough on top.
I'd be very interested to see what they do with the controller.
Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to play this most on Switch. Because I loved Diablo 3 on Switch. I played so much of it.
Yeah, I feel like whilst Diablo 3 doesn't have the same, like, prestige historically as Diablo, I feel like there's a bunch of things we forgot that have been improved a lot since that game came out.
Diablo 3 on Switch is a good buy. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really notice it when I load up, like, Torchlight to just see, like, how much better Diablo 3 is. It's,
Hey, you're not talking about shit about my Torchlight. I don't care.
No, I am. Like, Diablo 3 is real good.
Yeah. That's one of the 3 games that isn't on Game Pass, by the way. A Plague's Tale Requiem got announced, sequel to A Plague's Tale, which was... more rats. I'm interested to see where they take the story, because that game ends crazy fun.
And we got now
Get
next
to fight
gen...
a pope.
We have next gen hardware doing dem rats.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Because I did play through all that. It was enough to keep me, but it's a very limited game design in that game. I'd be interested to see now with a bit more confidence, a bit more time reiterating on it, like what it could possibly be. But yeah, not to spoil anything, that game's pretty cool. The other game that isn't coming to Game Pass is Far Cry 6. So I think I've hit all 3 now.
Yep.
Slime Rancher 2 got announced.
It's so cute.
Slime Rancher is good fun.
They showed a fantastic trailer for Atomic Heart, which is one of the trailers of the show. Go and enjoy that. Also on Game Pass. Just a reminder that's like, that's crazy. Because that's the thing with Atomic Heart. It looks so crazy. I can't believe it'll be that good. So now I can try it.
It does look bonkers.
Yeah.
I was, like, throughout this whole presentation, it was selling me more on an Xbox. I don't think I'm going to get an Xbox because I got a PC.
Yeah, I was going to say, all I've been sold on is having Game Pass still.
Pretty much.
But if I didn't have, a computer that could play stuff, like...
Yeah. The thing is...
There's a lot of good stuff coming to it.
The thing is, depending on how the world is going when we next want to get new things...
It might be easier to find an Xbox than a GPU, I'll tell you that much.
Because I felt a little bit of regret late last year about me buying my 5700. And I do not have that
right now.
I mean, I got the 2080S, and I was like, do I need to get this? Do I wait for the 30? And I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, this getting hardware is stupid. I mean, to buy a card, like, I could sell my card for, like, twice what I paid for it when I bought it last year. It's stupid.
The 20 series GPUs are now more expensive than the RRP for the 30 series ones.
Really?
Yeah, because the 30 series are like triple the price.
Wow.
For if you can find one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The world is
It's
crazy.
bonkers.
Next up was Replaced, which is another pixely cool background side scroller. It's the prettiest one. Can't tell you if it'll play good or not, but just go watch the trailer.
Damn,
Yeah,
it's the
it's
prettiest
fucking-
one.
This is where they're using it's in a 3D world and doing kind of really nice shader work.
And like cool camera movements with it, and
Yeah.
just
Solid
like
lighting,
yeah.
cool
It's-
camera stuff.
there will be parts of that go like, I don't know how this is playing, but this looks fucking
It
cool.
looked real nice.
Yeah, it's Replaced is one of my highlights in there. Grounded, Ascent, Age of Empires 4. The Outer Worlds 2 was announced in a trailer that just said, we haven't done anything yet. So again, look for that in 4 to 5 years. Flight Simulator is coming to console.
It still looks pretty as
Looks great.
all heck.
Don't know if it looks prettier or about the same
Just looks
as Forza Horizon
Oh,
5.
Horizon 5. Oh, yeah, I don't often get that excited
Flight
about
sim
racing.
on the ground.
Yeah. Like, every now and then, there's a driving game that comes along that I just get
The thing
really,
is,
really
it
excited
started,
about.
And I went, this looks too good. It
Yeah.
has to be a driving game.
Yeah, oh.
Because they're the only games that look that good.
I love Horizon games.
It's also nice that it's based in Mexico.
Yeah.
It's not a game about like drug cartels and stuff. It's just
about
about
Mexico being pretty.
yeah. And there's some real pretty stuff. There were several times because they were talking at one point saying like, oh, we went and took all this like this source photography and everything,
photography.
and then there's like a shot, and I'm
They're
like,
like, oh, this must be
is
the
that-
source photography.
and then it's like, and then the car drives through, like, oh, well, fuck,
Yeah.
they got me again. You got me again.
Like
you
every
crazy
still they
kids.
showed was like, this has to be an actual video, surely.
Yeah.
And then the camera pans to the car. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
We've modeled the individual
feel my
spikes of the
computer.
cactus.
Speaking of the fact that like waiting on new hardware and all that, like I can feel my computer melting already from
Yeah.
Forza.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
And Horizon games are fun.
Oh,
Right,
super
yeah.
fun. Super fun.
I want to know what their crazy DLC this time will be. What their fun DLC be. Oh,
Will it
So-
be
Day of the Dead.
non-racist Mexican related?
well, no, because my suggestion was going to be a bit racist. So at one point they're showing like just how randomly generating sort of multiplayer content, and they do like pinata drops.
Oh, and they've even pinatas.
I was going to say
Yeah.
the spin-off should be Viva Pinata World.
It could be.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would
That-
be pretty good.
But also a real kick in the face to not having a Viva Pinata game in like 15 years. But still, that would be cool. And then finally, they announced something that I had not heard of at all. Arcane dropping a new IP, a game called Redfall. It's just a pre-rendered trailer, cinematic trailer, but it still gave us an idea of the universe. It is an open world co-op, magic people fighting vampires, and there's a robot.
yeah. It sure seemed interesting.
It's a bit quippy, but whatever. It's like, and it's Arcane, so they get a benefit of the doubt because they really haven't fucked up. Can't think of a bad
No, they
Arcane
haven't had a
game.
miss. They've done well.
There's ones I like more than others, but they're all pretty
Yeah.
good. But that also I expect quite a while away. I know they have been working on it a few years. I think it's the Prey team.
I'd expect it to be
I
the
had
Prey
that.
team given what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And that the Dishonored team is doing Deathloop, right?
Yes, I believe that's so. I think that's the right way around. Cool. And that summed up the first Microsoft show because they had a second one this morning. And that was mostly just going deeper into most of those things. They also showed off Senua's Saga, which is Hellblade 2. And by which I mean they did not show it off at all because they basically said, we're getting near the end of pre-production.
So that'll be
It's
another.
like, "Ugh."
It's a tricky one to follow.
That'll be a next gen game.
Well, it is a hard one to follow, and that's what I wanted to see what they were going to do, and I
because,
still don't really know.
I mean, the first one's just like a small little thing about mental illness.
Yeah, it was a small project that they scoped out to be. I think only like 10 people worked on it or something, and they were very clever with their resources, and they told a small, intimate story primarily about mental health. And I think this is going to be a big Viking opera.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it's almost like I actually don't really want them to try and do the other stuff. I want no, just put
Just
it out there.
if
You
you're
can
gonna
have
be
some
big, just
cool
be big,
gods and have some mythical drama more than because if you try to do an intimate thing at that scale, I think it's going to come off a bit weird. But it's going to be a long wait. But it also, I was saying on our chat that it made me really realize that all those studios that Microsoft acquired, I kind of assumed they acquired them like mid-project but I don't think they did for a lot of them. I
Yeah.
think they acquired them and then said, now work out what you want to make. So they spent a year doing that, and then they start and modern production.
You have funding now. Just figure it out.
Well, like we're starting to see like the fruits of Microsoft's strategy.
I was saying we aren't. That was my thing.
Oh well, no, I mean, it's like looking back, like what's been announced.
But what has been announced that's from that strategy? Almost none of those things are from those acquisitions. Stalker 2?
Yeah, no, Stalker 2 I was just thinking of. I guess Atomic Heart wins that one out.
That's not owned by them.
Oh, they don't own it?
No.
So not particularly yet then.
But yeah, my point was I don't think we'll see a lot of these games until next generation. Or at least close to it. Or at least mid-generation. I think it'd be like, Senua's Saga comes out with the Series X Mark II. We'll find out. Just might be a bit of a wait. But hey, there's a lot of cool things to play in the time being. Speaking of cool things to play, Square Enix also had a show. And boy, did they open up with a long presentation.
Such a long...
So they launched with, hey, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a game we're making based on Guardians of the Galaxy. Comic books, not the movies, so...
Yeah.
So all the characters look weird.
Yeah, all the characters just look slightly different to what you're used to. No one bad. Like, the worst I had was Star-Lord's got blonde hair. I'm like, that's weird, but I guess it's fine. I can get over that.
Is this them trying to, like, salvage what they've done with Avengers?
No, because it's just the timeline. Like, this game was too far along when Avengers came out.
Because I assumed it was the same tech.
No.
Okay.
Totally. This is Eidos Montreal's game.
Okay.
So the Deus Ex team.
Okay.
They've been working on this for a while. It's been rumored for a long
Yeah.
time. So it's basically been
Yeah, because I'd honestly thought this was like, oh shit, what can we do with the Avengers engine? Quick.
Oh, no.
Just spin up some other characters.
No, this is being made by a competent team.
Okay, because it looked pretty good. Like, it looks fun.
It looks fine to me. I don't have a boner, but I don't have a hate boner either.
Look, this is something that I'll probably find on an EB for like $20 in a bin one day, and I'll play it over a weekend, and I'll have a good time with it.
And you will, because it is a third-person, single-player adventure game, which is what everyone wanted from Avengers, basically. And it's really solid, and they really proved that by spending half an hour on it. And partly
they showed us how solid it is.
But it was kind of nice as well, because they're like, okay, so here's the game, cinematic trailer. Here's a little bit of gameplay footage. Great. Now we're going to play through an entire level, and we're going to explain the systems as we go, and sort of notice that there's a bit of you can have dialogue choices. So you're like, oh, you've pissed off this character, and they're going to be annoyed at you now, and you can it's whilst you play Star-Lord, you can give everyone else commands in the battle, but they also act autonomously. There's lots of talking all the time at school. They really pushed in, and then they go, oh yeah, because it's out in October. So like, oh, so we're playing this soon. Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't have any questions. You've just answered them all, and I see why you've dedicated half your show to this.
Because you did the treehouse thing just in their presentation.
Yeah, and it was like, I suppose it killed momentum of the show, but it was like, no, this is the thing we have for this year. Here, get sold on it if you care. So yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I'm not, as I say, not boned, but not boned.
Get a neutral boner.
Just nursing us out.
Yep. They did go into the Marvel Avengers updates, which we do not care about. Interestingly, they don't have the Hitman license anymore, but they do have the Hitman Sniper license. So there's another one of those mobile games coming out. There's a bunch of mobile games. I'm mostly skipping them. Babylon's Fall they showed off, which is Platinum Games' new game, which is a service-based live game.
Yeah. See, I thought they were kind of done now.
Service-based live games.
Yeah, but I guess there's so much lead time on them that these things
we're
sort of like seeing the tail end of the live service game.
I mean, I just worry because basically, I mean, still a better company than.
And how's Outriders going?
Well, that's not a live game. It's not a live service game.
I thought it was.
No. It's deliberately not.
Oh, okay. It kind of looks like one though.
No. They dropped that game and said like it's finished.
Oh, it was going to be live service?
No.
Okay. Never.
No.
Okay.
In fact, they've started hinting that they might make some DLC because people have been demanding it so much.
Oh, okay.
But they had no no. We were just like, here's a game you buy it and you play through it. I can see why you think it.
Yeah. Like it looks like
it's got all the mechanics.
Yeah.
But they
live
didn't.
service game.
They just said, what if we made a live service game, but it was just a game, and you bought it and you played it? I was like, what a novel concept. So Babylon, remember, was it Let It Die? That Suda game?
Oh, yeah.
That was
yeah.
a weird Soulsian action.
The skeleton.
The skateboarding skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think about that and how much I loved that game and how much I would have genuinely loved it if it wasn't a live service game and I could have just played a game, which is my worry with Babylon's Fall. But we'll see. Life is Strange Remaster Collection coming out along with new Life is Strange True Colors, which does look a little bit different. I
haven't played Life is Strange 2 yet.
Yeah, I only got halfway through it. I need to go back. The first one is such a unique, perfect marriage of concept and gameplay that I was like, when they announced the second one, I'm like, I don't know how they'll do this again. And they didn't. Because it's so hard to find that sort of duality in a concept. I mean, it still is a good game from what I played, but yeah, it's not like, hey, look, the mechanic matches the theme, matches the tone, matches the writing. Hey. Anyway, so yeah. Then we got to... which I only just showed to Sam. Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. A real chaotic trailer with an angry white man who is there to kill chaos. Chaos.
I've been quiet for the show, I think mostly because my brain's still processing that trailer.
Oh, God.
It sure
He's
is
not
a thing.
He's chaos.
It did sound like garlic, though.
He's not garlic. Definitely
Like,
not
I do
garlic.
want someone to dub that over, like,
I am
a cooking
garlic.
thing. This is garlic!
So, this is Team Ninja, and it's using a lot of the mechanics from Neo. And people have basically said from the demo that it's basically reskinned Neo 2.
Which means it'll at least play okay.
Yeah. So the demo's out, and they made another big whoopsie with that, where they released the demo, but they forgot to check if it worked.
Whoops.
So it was a time-limited demo. I think you've got till the 22nd to play it. And despite the fact the first day and a half, 2 days, the game was inoperable when they patched it so it could be started, they did not change that end date. So get in there. I loaded it up, and I was immediately greeted by graphics that reminded me of a PS3. I'm like, is this broken? I don't understand why it looks like this. And I still don't. I feel like I need to go in and tool around with it because it is this. You're in a field of like tall grass, and that tall grass is like all like aliased, and it just looks like a snowstorm of terrible textures. I'm like, what am I looking at? And it's like, it kind of plays fine, but it's also one of those games that just like loads you with all the mechanics. I mean, it's like, okay, so you attack with this button, great. Now you've got this magic shield, and when you parry with that, you build a meter, and this is how you use the meters, and you can switch to this mode by pushing these two buttons at the same time, and that'll let you work until you get hit, and then you get like, okay, it's kind of all right. I'm like, okay, I got it. Okay, then I let it get into the real game and go up. I try one of the buttons I hadn't pushed before. And you know how I told you about my magic block? It's also another block. Oh no!
2 blocks.
What am I supposed to do with the second block button? And I immediately was just like, why are there so many blocks? I know it's only 2, but I don't understand the difference. I don't understand the difference to know why I would use one or the other. But the fact that they're both there at the same time is confusing to me. Yeah, I'm like, it's like and like using the magic one builds your magic. It doesn't spend your magic. I'm like, what? Okay. It's all, and like they all seem fine and all controlled fine, but I was just like, there's a lot of mechanics to load you up at the front before you go beat a goblin in the face, which honestly doesn't need any of these mechanics to beat. Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's out next year apparently, and I feel like it might need a little bit longer to cook. Yeah. Also, it has the worst writing than anyone's heard in a video game forever.
When I saw that trailer, I wanted the next game to be a Metal Gear game.
Oh, that would be good.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, so you should watch the trailer for Stranger of Paradise.
Yes, it is worth watching that trailer.
It's batshit. Cool. Okay. PC gaming show. Some cool looking games, but nothing I'm pulling out at the moment. I just want to drop that there was a surprise sequel for me. There was Far Changing Tides, which was what was the original called? It was Far something Sails. Oh, whatever. A cool little game where you were going across a desert in this little ship, but you had to maintain it and get out and do stuff.
Cool little game.
There's a space sequel, and it's in water now. Yeah. I was like, oh, I was really not expecting a sequel to this to ever come.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that. Okay.
What else?
But lots of PC gaming show, which was an okay show. No, skipping all that. Future game show.
It's just a big list.
It is just...
There are so many games.
So much middle ground.
Yeah, and a lot of things that were already known or we've even already played.
Yeah.
And I feel like almost this thing that, because people, I mean, like, not everyone's like us and follow everything, so it's not like these things have already had their day. But there's also something like, there's so much bulk, and you have to, like, literally, I'm just scrolling through stuff here. Like, yep. Because I think we're working our way up to Nintendo now. That's where we want to get. It's where we're trying to get to. We're moving our way.
Which is kind of how I felt the whole past week.
Yeah.
Just like, well, it shows, but we're
we
waiting for the Nintendo
We have to
one.
stop to talk about limited run games. So limited run games, they do limited physical runs of games. So they got a few. They're doing Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Super Hot, blah, blah, blah. They announced River City Girls 2, blah, 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 blah. That Blood Rain 2D game's coming out again for some reason. Blah, 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 blah. I'm waving my hand a lot for audio listeners going blah, 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 blah. Until we get to the end, when the universe fucking collapsed on itself. And they said, you know what we need to re-release? You know, we did Night Trap, you know. It's a bad game, but, you know, historically of note. Yeah. Said, but what if we just took a game that was fucking terrible in every single regard, but is famous because Angry Video Game Nerd once did an episode on it.
That's the only reason I know this game exists.
Yep.
They're doing a physical release and digital release of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
Why?
If you spend money on this, you're a bad person.
Just go watch the AVGN video episode if you want to know what it is.
Yeah. This isn't a game. This is a PowerPoint presentation.
Which goes off the rails completely by the end.
It makes no sense. It's a comedy without any actual humor in it. It's like it's a weird artifact, I guess, because it was like people say, look, it's an adult humored game coming out on the 3DO. Isn't that crazy? But when I call it a PowerPoint presentation, it's not an exaggeration. It's a slideshow.
Yeah, there's no videos in this thing. It's just all stills.
Badly taken stills. And a really unfunny, painful story, and it's got some notoriety mainly because of the Angry Video Game Nerd trailer episode. It should not be re-released. This should be relegated to the depths of hell.
I mean, for the sake of archiving,
it's already archived. You can just fucking 3DO emulate it if you really want, and you shouldn't.
Play it on your Mister.
Also, I've been talking about this business. Not everything needs to be archived.
Yeah, some things should be lost to the histories of time.
These are so many things like you know, like we need Mega Race.
Yeah.
But do we need Mega Race 3?
Fair point.
Yeah. Good. Capcom had a show which was mostly not of note because it was just things we already knew. They said, "Oh, we're going to make DLC for Resident Evil Village." Like, DLC for a Resident Evil game?
Wow.
What's it going to be? Oh, we can't say that. Then why are you doing this? And then it's like, yeah, Monster Hunter Rise Stories is still coming out in a couple of weeks. And then Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is still coming out. Apparently there's dancing in it that I didn't know about. Made me more excited, but I was already down. Okay.
We're there. We made it.
Did we? Okay. Nintendo time. Nintendo started. Why is everything in my... What? That one's making noise. The speaker's turned off. What's going on?
Why is this one making noise?
Why are you turning
You got 100, you madman.
What? Why would you ever listen to anything not at 100?
That's what mine's always said too.
Yeah. You just change the distance to the computer. That's what... So we had to do these online tests at work these days for the kids. I work at a school, by the way. I know you all just went, what the fuck? And some of the tests have audio. They get headphones. We tell them to set the volume before they start up the program because once it locks everything out. And so someone's going, it's too loud. And I'm just like, take it further away from your ear.
Solves the problem.
Yeah. It's the too soft that's hard to solve. Just physics. Just don't push it down the canal so much. Jeez. Anyway, Nintendo.
Yes.
Okay, so we started off with a picture of Ganondorf being carried to a volcano. and being dropped by some guy from Tekken. I don't know Tekken.
I cannot remember his name.
He does continue to drop
character.
Smash characters into the volcano leading up to Kirby being dropped, which is like a bit from Tekken, which I don't get, but I could still get it enough to laugh at that image of him just dumping all the bodies into a volcano. But yeah, so new Smash Bros. Character, some Tekken guy. Seems fine, whatever. I don't know. I want the final ones to just be a bit crazy.
I want some weird ones, yeah.
Yeah, I want
we've got like all our bajillion Fire Emblem characters. We've got all our Tekken and Street Fighter characters.
It does seem like a little bit of a cop out that they're just adding a fighting game character.
I like that they are doing different things with movesets. Like this character's moveset is different from like the Street Fighter characters they've got, and it's still very Tekken in its thing. And like then they did like the weird shit. Like Minecraft Steve was really fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's the level that I want.
I want more Minecraft Steves. I want them to have to change the whole game for one character.
I want a Phoenix Wright. I want a bloody monkey ball character in there.
That would be amazing.
Which is further down this list, but that is why I thought of it. But I'm like, why not?
Give me the crazy ones. Put more dev work into changing the game to give me crazy characters.
Just some crazy ones. Give me a Wada. This is the final tribute.
But it would need to be the final character, like when they're done.
The very last one.
It's like, oh no, I'm just gonna create. That's what he just creates games around you. That would be I'm down with that.
The thing is, I think they stick with like the safer options because they don't want to piss off the core Smash community any more than they already have.
When the crazy metal, like when they did like Hero from Dragon Quest, and it's like has random elements in it. Like you can't have random in our entirely serious fighting game with.
How dare you do that when you have tripping and I think. Yeah,
it's. I mean, I like that game. It's good fun. If you take it too serious,
I don't think I've ever played it with items turned off.
It's the items are so much fun.
It's a fun party game.
It's oh no, they've got this. Quick, run away! Like that's the fun of it.
And also, you know what you can do if it's a character that doesn't fit into a tournament. You can
just
ban it
if you're which they already do.
Yeah, it's like it's not a hard one to solve.
I know this is a tangent, and you know how we've loved those, but there's nothing wrong with things not being balanced. That the lack of balance.
I've always felt a bit weird of competitive games. It's like it seems to be this whole like everything needs to be balanced. I'm like, but that means everything's the same. That makes it not fun.
So for one
it's okay for some things to be overpowered as long as there's a counter.
The one that popped into my head was Shadow Warrior with the nuke, and there was a weapon. That was a nuke, and anything in line of sight of it would be instantly killed. Yeah. So that game became about waiting for the nuke to spawn.
It's like the Redeemer in the tournament.
Yeah, and then it's fighting over that weapon and then hiding from everyone with the weapon. It creates a flow of the game. If it was like, oh no, every weapon needs to be viable against every other weapon, it's like, no. Let people get something out of the way. That's the fun in itself. Like, AVP, much better than AVP 2, because AVP 2 was like, a predator has to be equal to a marine, has to be equal to an alien. No, that's kind of the point. They are not equal things. Anyway, a few other things. So, Guardians of the Galaxy is coming to the Switch. How's it coming to the Switch, James? How's it coming to the Switch? How's it going to come to the Switch, James?
Poorly?
Is it? No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. It's streaming.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like Control, just like what else? Hitman 3. But you
probably got it, didn't it? At some point.
I
think one of the Assassin's Creed's got streaming.
Yeah, I know Resident Evil 7 did in Japan. But we don't have that in this country anyway. So Also, I'll just play it on a console. I can play. Was Romulus 2 Point Hospital? Okay, Monkey Ball Banana Mania. So they said, hey, you like Super Monkey Ball? Remember how those old games were like the ones you liked? Here they are. We remade
all of them.
Yep. So it's 3 games, is it? No, it's at least the first 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a remake. It looked nice. Next up, things that are from the past. Mario Party Superstars. You know how they just released that Mario Party like a year ago, or maybe a year and a half ago?
It's 2 years.
Yes.
2 years.
2.5.
3 years.
Obsolete now.
5 years.
That Mario Party 10 or whatever it was.
I think they just called it Super Mario Party. So there's a new Mario Party, and it's everything old is new again. It's
all the things they should have done.
Yeah. So 5 boards from N64 era and a few hundred mini games from that. Oh no, just 100 or 200. I can't remember.
Some
amount.
Yeah, a number then 2 zeros.
A lot.
It's basically just like we took all the old Mario parties and made them one Mario party.
And not the cool one with the microphone.
Yeah.
Or maybe they did. I don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe they did. Yeah. So you can do that, and you can play online if you are the loneliest person.
See, when they were
in the world.
showing it, I expected it to be like, "Hey, here's the DLC for your copy of Mario Party to make it not shit."
Yeah, well, that's
But
kind of
it's a
what.
whole game by itself.
Yeah, it would be nice if they just mixed it in.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can play online. And can you imagine anything sadder, James?
No, I don't know, just playing it in general. Though,
Yeah, but it multiplies it. Imagine if I forced you to play Mario Party and we didn't even get to sit in the same room abusing each other.
And there was a random internet stranger in the game as well.
Yeah. And remember, it's the Switch, so there's undoubtedly no communication.
And
there is if you phone everyone.
and I'm sure the netcode on every one of those
minigames will be
is
fine.
horrible.
Yeah.
No,
They'll be totally
No,
fine, James.
Nintendo don't know how to netcode.
I don't
For
think
people playing a mini game that takes 5 seconds, it'll be fine.
I don't think it's going to make a difference, James. What? You worried that the sanctity of the Mario Party mini game's not going to hold
I
up?
bet what it'll do is it'll run all of the games locally, fake the opponents,
I was thinking the
and then
exact.
figure out who
yeah,
wins
I
afterwards.
was actually thinking the exact same thing.
It'll do all of it
Yeah.
locally.
It'll just be all just AI. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, and then the first big announcement, which is they cut out and said it's Metroid time. Metroid time. So Metroid Prime 4, we know we announced it several years ago.
When they said they just restarted the whole
And
thing.
today is no different.
Yeah.
So, fuck you.
I'm getting used to it now.
Metroid 5. And so they announced Metroid 5, which is called Metroid Dread, which you may remember as a name because it was a name for a project about 15 years ago, which got cancelled, but now it's back in Switch form. And it's Metroid, but they got a bit of horror element in there.
Horror, like the way the creatures move are kind of have some
Got a-
horror,
got
bit
a-
of a horror thing where the heads stay kind of still and the bodies are
Freaky GLaDOS
Yeah.
robot dog.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's a side-scrolling Metroid game again, and it is the conclusion of the epic 5-part story we were all waiting for the conclusion
It's
of.
it's the finale of the Metroid storyline.
Because I was a little confused when it came up saying Metroid 5.
Because they just said Metroid Prime 4,
Yeah.
and you're like, wait, are they skipping one?
These numbers don't make any sense.
You forgot. Totally different
Yeah.
things. Yeah, I actually didn't like the trailer very much, but then I saw
Did
the
you watch
gameplay.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
and
did
I
you
thought
watch the gameplay?
Gameplay looked great.
Yeah,
It
it
does
looks
look
good.
good. They're taking a lot of the things that they added to that 3DS remake.
I'm
Yeah.
a little surprised they haven't re-released Samus Returns on Switch. It seems like because it wasn't like it used the 3D for anything particularly important.
No, it just made the backgrounds look cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's just
But
odd.
it's
An
the
odd
same,
choice.
Same
that they
team, and they've
Yeah.
learned a lot. And yeah, they have the parry system from
Yeah.
Metroid Returns,
Except
and
you can use it whenever you want, so it's not really a
yeah.
parry now.
just a melee attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good, and I
yeah, I'm
will.
keen.
I'll buy it with my money. Just Dance. Mario Golf's coming out next week. We don't need to talk about that.
It does look fun though.
Yeah, of course. That's why I'm going to buy it.
It looks
Yeah.
real fun.
Going to buy it. I'm going to talk
Do
about
some
it.
speed golf.
Yeah, lose some speed and some golf. Then we got the biggest announcement of the show. WarioWare, get it together.
Yay! I got my $49 but not $49 WarioWare
Nice.
that they surveyed me about.
I did see it like $10 cheaper than most other games, though.
I think it's $69 on the eShop.
I
Which
think on Amazon, I think it's
Yeah.
$59.
What I liked about this one is that it is a completely different way to play WarioWare.
Yeah,
So
and that
I
has
was-
me. That
got
has me
characters.
scared. It has me scared and nervous.
got
James.
characters and abilities.
So the thing that's different with this one is that you're actually playing physical characters walking around the level, and different characters have different abilities,
It's a
which means
hero
there's
game.
different ways to solve the...
Is it the
Things.
Overwatch of WarioWare?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and in that it also allows multiple players, so it has a big focus on 2-player. Yeah, it is different, which is concerning and worrying and terrifying, but also every WarioWare game is actually pretty different from
Yeah.
the one before it. And every single one except for Smooth Moves, which I don't think was good.
Yeah, that's probably the one miss.
Yeah, and the thing is, that game is still good. It just has the one problem, which is before every minigame, the game stops and tells you how to hold the remote.
Yeah, and you don't have that frantic...
It's like,
Yeah.
fuck off.
You're not
Yeah.
trying to figure it out on the fly,
Yeah.
which is the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
point of
Yeah.
micro games.
It's like even doing it once would be fine, but no. It's like, oh, the next game, make sure you put it on your head and squat like this. Like, oh, this whole game is about pace and energy, and you've killed it all. But yeah, every other one has been a classic as far as I'm concerned. So I don't really have any doubt that this will also be good. I'm just interested to see how it actually plays. Because, as I say, new things scare me. So that's... And also, almost every game that we're talking about at Nintendo is coming out this year. So they had a big
they did make a big thing about that on their little statement at the start, too.
Yeah, which also explains the total absence of some of the games we were hoping to get updates on. Cool. Then there was not a deep dive, but a new trailer showing off Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is sort of a continuation from 3, which they just did the HD remake of. Which, it's the Persona without the school, because it was the serious one before they spun off with that kiddie crap. Which, of course, I never heard of until long after I'd heard of Persona. But demonic otherworld Tokyo with a lot of the same demons from Persona, except you can be friends with them.
Yeah, there's Pokemon. Just catch them. Well, Pokemon more.
You can recruit them. You can have conversations with them.
Recruit them. You merge them together, and
you got to have the right conversation with
Smush them together.
What was that old PS1 game, Legend of Dragoon or whatever it was?
That is a game.
Breed the creatures together to make new ones. Those are really cool.
There's lots of hybrid stuff. We're always making animals fuck for our amusement. But also, you do that in Persona, so
true.
It's like fuse. It was fuse. It's normally just fusion, isn't it? Yeah. I'm just trying to remember if it's different in different games, but I think it's always fusion. Then another collection of old games. This time, Danganronpa.
I've never played Danganronpa.
Sure is a thing that exists.
I played the first one, and I played about a third of the second one, and I was always like, I pick up my Vita, I'm like, I'll keep going. I'm like, oh wait, I haven't played this in a year. I don't remember what I'm doing. But the font will be bigger on the Switch. So it includes Danganronpa 1, 2, 3, and a new game, which is a spin-off of the board game in 3, which as I haven't played 3, I don't know how that board game is. It's cool to have that collection. They're really good games. Portable format is the perfect way to play those games. And as I say, if you don't have them on Vita, it's good. You better bigger font.
It'll be easier to read.
And I suppose that's all really to say about that. It doesn't have the weird spin-offs where like third-person shooters and everything, but I think the main story is really all you really want in that series. Then you can play the other stuff another time. Then they released that's right, I just need to check something. Leave it to me.
What are you looking for? Maiden of Blackwater.
Metacritic.
Metacritic.
So they brought back Maiden of Blackwater, the Fatal Frame game from the Wii U, which got a 67 on Metacritic. Just because I heard people talking about, wasn't that the bad one?
Maybe they'll fix it.
Maybe. Oh, you with such faith, James. But I mean, like on its surface, I was like, "Oh, cool, Fatal Frame for Switch." Yeah. I've never really played much Fatal Frame. They seem cool. But maybe it's not the first one to start with. Doom Eternal, the new DLC is coming, same date to Switch version. Which still seems like a weird way to play it, but it looks good. Like
it's pretty impressive what they've squeezed out of it.
What's really impressive about the Nintendo trailer is how they managed to cut all the violence out of the Doom Eternal trailer. It's like, wow, this game.
How did they find shots of Doom Eternal that were safe?
He seems to be jumping towards the skeleton. Hey, it's cut. Where's it gone? I saw footage for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Strange Brigade is getting a release on the Switch, like year and a half after its original launch. That's fine, I guess. Then one more collection of old games: Advance Wars 1 and 2, Reboot Camp. So, are you happy or angry about that name?
It's okay.
I don't particularly care.
Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about the change from sprites to weird 3D models?
I don't particularly care.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. I don't like it, but it's fine. I'm not like this is the worst thing ever. I'm like, just upscale the sprites, right? It's probably fast.
No, Advance Wars, it's always been one of those games which
Advance Wars, no D.
Advance War.
No! That's no S. I hate you, James.
Advance Wars?
I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with it because it's one of the games I think I should like, but then I play
that's where I'm like.
I don't like it.
It looks like I want this, and then I want it, and I get it. I'm like, I didn't want this
game.
But not for me.
But what about Battalion Wars on the Wii?
I never played it.
It was the worst one. It was a very different game, though. And then they said, and now it's time for our final announcement of the show. And they began a trailer for the DLC for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Nintendo can't count. And this is what I've learned.
I was very confused.
Well, they classify an announcement very differently to the rest of us.
I could feel the internet go, what?
I heard the voices yell.
What do you mean this is the last thing? What they meant was the last section.
Yeah.
So they talked about the DLC for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and that's as much as I care about it. Next up, they spoke about Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, which is out in a month. And I'm probably going to buy it because I'm a big old sucker, and I never played through.
I like Skyward Sword, but I know it's not one of the more popular ones.
Then they said, now for the big one, your new Game & Watch.
Yeah.
For The Legend of Zelda.
Which, honestly, looks pretty good.
So I've now made
It's like a good way to play those games.
I've made the mistake of getting the first one.
What?
And and now there's multiple.
Why do so many people I know have bought these things?
Well, the problem is now I've got one. I've ordered two. They're going to keep doing them.
Yeah.
They've got me. I can't stop now.
They've hooked you in to buying Game & Watch
Every year they're going to
in
do
the
one of these
21st
things.
century.
Well, it's quite hard to tell the time in these days, this age. An alarm clock.
Look,
I mean,
the reason I want it
uh-huh.
is because I want to figure out, and you may be able to answer this with the other ones they've already done. I want to figure out how moddable they are, or if they are just
I haven't looked
down.
Just
at play these games on your play date.
Oh yeah, let me go play Zelda with a crank. Sounds great.
Play date.
Actually, it does.
I'm like, Game & Watch is just D-pad and an A and B button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just put the crank in there for the hell of it.
I'm
Yeah.
legit excited about Playdate. I really want it bad.
That's right. That's something to be excited for.
Zelda 2 on that 1-bit screen.
It looked
pretty
good.
good,
Yeah. So this Game & Watch this time has 4 games. It has Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, the Dreams of Link and the Fuckstack. I can't remember what it's called. And Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
And also a copy of Vermin, which was actually a Game & Watch game, but they've changed the sprite.
Yeah, to Link.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, it's got an
Looks
alarm
great.
clock in it.
Yeah, but
And you can play
the
the
clock
alarm
of playable levels,
As-
Paul.
You can play
It's
the
really
alarm,
cool.
you can play the alarm clock.
It's not as cool as you make it sound.
It is still really cool though.
I know. I'm just going to end up with a shelf with these things.
Yeah.
Because they'll do one. There'll be Donkey Kong one next.
Probably.
Look,
Yeah.
I had this moment at work where the thing was like, great, we can finally order the fridge because Xbox.
Oh, the Xbox fridge.
Xbox announced that they're doing an actual
actually
mini
making a
fridge,
fridge, yeah.
because the joke about
It does look
the
pretty
Series
cool.
X looking like a fridge, and I'm like, yeah, but who would ever buy one?
Yeah, everyone, Paul.
And the response is like, why wouldn't you? I'm like, what?
Here's a list.
I have 2 fridges in my house. I probably only need one.
Everyone
I
I've
don't need
spoken
no-
to who has seen that, like in my bubble, has said that they're getting one.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a fucking crazy Berenstein Bears world.
No, I'm with you. Cause I saw the fridge and it doesn't have much space in it.
No, it's a pretty small
It's a
fridge.
tiny little fridge. It's
I could keep one Pepsi in it at all times.
You can get those too, and I know they've sold like hotcakes. You can get USB fridges that hold a single can.
I mean, I just drink it fast enough that it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be refrigerated. There's a lot of funny things out there. It's what the April Fool jokes
But
are
they
good
sell
for.
so well.
Yeah. I mean,
We're in a world where the April Fool jokes sell.
there's a lot of people that have a lot of money, and this ties into our earlier video card discussions. It's like, because my thing would be like, oh, people are trying to scalp this for 3 times its price. Pfft, who would buy that? And it turns out lots of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yes. The world is wild. And I hope everyone enjoys their fridges. I just was surprised. And that's the end of
That's it.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
And so they had a very short trailer at the end for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, which I think they actually titled Sequel to Breath of the Wild. So they haven't given it a name, and the official word was that it has a name, but they're afraid that the name will give away the story, so they're holding it for now.
But at some point we're going to know the name.
Maybe they just won't tell us, and you'll get the box, and it'll just like be a peel away sticker.
So I think it's because it's going to be Breath of the Wild Skyward Sword 2.
See, that's that was my first impression.
Yeah, it does.
They played that trailer, and I said, the first thing I said was, why are they remaking Skyward Sword if this is what they're doing?
Yeah. So the big addition to Breath of the Wild 2 is that then we are now above Hyrule, and we have, just like the Avatar game, islands floating in the sky, James. Just as you
And the castle
demanded.
itself.
The castle gets raised up. Link, if not flying, can at least fall very stylishly. There's something fucked up with his arm.
He's got like a Shaco robot arm now.
Yep. There are new traversal mechanics, like sort of floating up through platforms and stuff, a bit portal-y sort of stuff. And one of the things that there seems to be a bit of hinting through it is time-based stuff. There's a power that allows you to reverse time on objects, and suddenly halfway through, all the singing goes backwards. So I'm betting there's a time theme to this game. But that's all we really know.
And they've had to make some statement, I didn't see what it was, but they, after the fact, some statement about everyone piling on and making references to Majora's Mask about it because of the time thing. Apparently.
I mean, what are the statement they have to make?
I
This
don't know.
isn't Majora's Mask 2.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry to tell you, Zelda fans, several games have involved time.
Yeah.
Yes,
apparently that's
been a
the
bit
one
of a thing.
everyone lands on, I guess.
It is a bit of a Zelda thing.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Not unique.
Yeah. So, so that's 2022.
I'm
is the
expecting
projection.
this to come out about the same time as the Switch Pro.
Who knows?
I reckon this will be a Switch Pro system seller. I doubt it'll be like exclusive to said Switch Pro, but
oh no, they'll be crazy to do that. It might run like shit on the Switch.
But I just feel the timing of this coming out next year. Yeah, it'll
Or
work.
what? Because you feel like you have some sort of like magical feeling on when the Pro is going to definitely come out, just like everybody
else
has.
in the
Like,
past month.
they were just like,
But Paul, the difference is
We're definitely gonna hear about
I got
it.
a microphone.
the difference is
And entitlement.
The difference is I've got a good feeling about this. So yeah, one of the things that there was a big lack of, as many people have noticed, that there was no Switch 2 Pro announcement. Switch Pro announcement. Sorry.
Honestly, who cares?
It is funny because there was all these rumors that it was going to be announced before E3. Bloomberg's had all these articles about
They're
what
like, they'll
hardware's in
announce
it.
it before so that everyone, all the stuff they're showing
So the
at
third
E3 are
parties
showing
can,
it off.
Yeah, third parties can say we've been doing this and the thing is, as many arguments as you can make for them releasing one, you can make just as many arguments for them not releasing it. And we're not them. And honestly, it could have come
The
out.
big one I've seen is almost all of their hardware announcements in the past like decade and a half have been not at E3.
Yeah.
They've all been later in
That's
the
why
year.
it was going to be before E3.
Yeah.
And you know what?
But they've all been like
And
separate to
here's
June.
what I would not put past Nintendo. It was 100% planned to be launched before E3.
They're just wait, no, you're not getting it.
And then the rumor came out, and they were like, "Fuck you!
We're going to prove you wrong.
We're going to do this on our own time.
Do whatever we want.
Because like the biggest arguments for are basically that the current hardware for the Switch is actually becoming harder to source because it's older now. So actually doing an upgrade might actually be easier to source the parts, which may be true, but it also depends how much current stock they've got. Because once they release a new thing, the old stock is harder to shift, and it's just like it's back and forth constantly. You go like, but all the Switch is selling more than it ever has. So if they can still keep making them as they are, why wouldn't they keep doing that? And like, and at the end of the day, it all makes sense, and you can go either way. Who gives a shit? It'll happen when it happens, if it happens at all. I'm gonna go play Devolver
Maybe
games
they
on my
just
Switch.
won't, and they'll release something stupidly bonkers and different. You never know.
I really feel at the moment.
Maybe
that-
they'll see the play date and be like, shit.
Ah, shit, crank.
we gotta do something just as crazy.
But that was the thing that we were when they had the detachable controllers. We were like, they could have all sorts of controllers. They could
But
have
they
a
haven't.
crank, and they never did.
They haven't done anything.
They never took
with
any of it. I do feel like the Switch is just their blueprint for the future, though.
It's working for them.
I kind of hope it isn't because I want crazy Nintendo back, but also it's very good.
But we're still getting stuff like Labo. Like, it's still happening.
Yeah,
They're
but
doing. I think they've pivoted to doing interesting software because
Yeah, they
they
always do
fucked
that
with
too.
Labo, like, and then like the game stuff that's just come out. Like some of their other things, they've tried out software wise. I think less crazy weird hardware.
See if there's anything later that we also have to talk about. Nah, I reckon we can end it there. So yeah, E3.
Yeah,
How'd we all feel?
But the same as I did before it, I think.
Yeah,
Really. Except now there's more shit I have to look
more
at.
games
getting.
on my list.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Metroid.
Yeah,
That one
like
looks good.
there's a
Good.
lot on there that like I know I want and will play that I didn't know about before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
But
probably
nothing's really stood out.
that was probably my biggest surprise. Was just Metroid. And even then, it's like, Metroid was announced. It's not like shocking that it happened.
Like, oh, cool, they're doing a
But
Metroid.
like, I wasn't expecting it, so that was fun.
The only like conflict I have in my brain with Metroid is that I love Metroidvanias, which is a term that makes no sense considering the only reason they added the Vania is because there was a Castlevania game that came out that copied Metroid.
Yeah, they're all just Metroid games.
Yeah, they're all just Metroidites. But I play so many good ones, and they're all indie games that are like 20 to 30 bucks.
Here's the thing. We're getting a new Metroid, but I know Silksong is coming.
I mean, that
Do I need the new Metroid? They are very different.
But it's like...
But I know Silksong's probably going to be better.
I tell you, lengthwise and quality-wise, it's not going to be like night and day, but one's going to be twice the price of the other.
Yeah. Though I guess in that case, it's thematically, like, because I'm not that interested in Silksong. Like, that theme doesn't interest me that much. But give me some Metroid.
Yeah. It comes down to, like, the actual setting more than anything, I guess. But there are a lot of them.
Plus, there's that new penis-based Metroidvania that I'm really into. I don't know. I'm just thinking, I don't know what I'm saying. I just had to find something that was more my flavor. Anyway, so yeah, that was a lot of video games.
Yeah.
And we skipped most of them because it's literally hundreds of them. But you can check that out. So we mentioned earlier that Steam Next Fest is on currently. Also, if you have an Xbox, about 40 demos went up from Microsoft from the ID at Xbox program. So you can go and check all of that out. There's the weird Stranger of Paradise demo that's out on PS5. I recommend you get it just for the what the fuckisms. Also, it's not like it plays badly. It just looks a bit shit and has crazy writing. Anything else E3 wise? I think probably for time base, I've been playing Ratchet and Clank, and you've been playing Game Builder, but maybe we'll save them
because I want to finish all the tutorials anyway.
Yeah.
Before
I need to.
James doesn't like to talk about Game Builder until he's made something amazing.
Yeah, I need to make something first.
Yeah.
He said something amazing.
Yeah, so not gonna happen. Oh, maybe.
Someone built Doom in a day. Yeah. Like, you can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah. I think the most one of the games I've designed that I'm most proud of was one of the Game Jam games I did, which was about you're a garbage collector, and so my idea was that you're at a computer. And it's a twin stick shooter, and the restrictions were like alarm limits. I don't know, something else. But so basically, I wanted something so the more you fired, instead of overheating, you'd slow down the computer. So I increased the fixed time step with the physics based on how fast you were shooting. So you deliberately break the physics.
You did a reverse Space Invaders.
Yeah. It was actually that was one of the things I was most proud of.
What you should do.
And that was a little in a day make a thing.
Yeah. You could make your Magic Carpet remake on the Switch.
My Magic Carpet remake. I want someone else to make the Magic Carpet remake. It's too big.
James, you're the game developer. You could do it.
I need someone more talented to make it.
I miss mobile games being viable.
Okay, so wrapping up E3. The Summer Game Fest still goes at least the rest of this month.
Yeah.
But also, it continues basically the end of next month because we're waiting for Annapurna's showcase on the bloody 30th of next fucking month.
Why did they do that?
I don't know why, because one of the things in that fucking showcase is something from the Outer Wilds.
I want to know.
There's footage and it shows the thing that's not in the game currently. And I'm going crazy. There's a leaked thing on Steam and it's got a name, it's a Storm thing or something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's the Outer Wilds. I'm a big fan. Yeah. It's one of the 3 best games of the decade.
I don't think you liked Outer Worlds.
No, you don't do that. You've seen the amount of articles.
Did you see there's a sequel coming?
Yeah. The amount of articles for the Outer Worlds 2 that say Outer Wilds 2.
Oh,
it's like,
how dare they?
It's still happening. How do people keep doing this? It is... I still am dirty that they call that game the Outer Worlds. It's like, I know it's fun and it's a different name, but this other game
It just
has
sounds.
been.
It's the fact that it sounds the same.
It's so
too.
similar, and
Wilds and
they
Worlds.
were there first.
The only difference between the two names is an accent.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah.
You take someone from somewhere else in the world and they sound the same.
And you just generally describe it as like, yeah, it's a space game. You go from planet to planet, like solving shit. Like, I mean, there couldn't be any more. I mean, there could be more different. I mean, one could be like a.
One could be not space.
Yeah.
Yeah, one could be a card game about cats and.
One could be Card Shark that we didn't see.
Yeah, I actually sent an email to Devolver saying, yeah,
Why?
where's Card Shark, motherfucker?
Excuse me. Where was Card Shark?
Yeah. So like, we love everything about the presentation except where the fuck was Card Shark? You pieces of shit! I'm never supporting you again. Man, where is Card Shark?
Please find $20 attached to this email.
Paul, that's a photo.
I'm going to scan them some money. That's technically illegal, isn't it?
If I think so.
Yeah, so I'll put a big mark across the top. This is not legal tender. There we go. Problem solved. Okay, let's wrap that up for the year, I think. Yeah, I mean, does anyone have any like, this is my great pick of the show that they love or anything?
Not really, no.
I did some picks for Z games.
I just
Now
have
I can't.
too big a list of things I want.
Well, Trek to Yomi was my big one. Somerville.
Yeah.
That not Rebirth. What was it? It's something. That sexy.
Replicant or
No.
you have to look it up.
Now we gotta
I've
look
got to
it
go
up.
home soon, Paul. Let it,
No.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
No, you can't wrap it
Paul's
up.
going to type the letters RE into this massive list of games.
I've got a
I
sick
did.
wife
And
with
get
a baby
one-
at
and
home.
get
I need to
one
get home soon.
game.
Did you see a sick wife?
Yeah, she's
Wait,
sick.
You didn't tell me she was sick.
Didn't open with that.
Yeah, tell everyone about the sickness. Are we down with the sickness? Man, RE does get you almost every list lane of this
It's
list.
a very common
Okay.
word combination.
Well, why don't you eat my dick?
You don't have to remember it, Paul.
I do.
It's fine. There's a game on the list.
I do. Look, it was at the Xbox conference. Let's go to Xbox conference.
Just leave at this point.
Yeah,
It's like,
You're-
bye everyone.
You're the one that changed
See ya, James.
You're the one that changed the story, James.
Oh yeah, now his wife's sick.
Not sick enough. Not sick enough for me. Oh, go away, filters. Look, we just need to look. Replaced.
Okay, there you
We got it. We got it. It's a good game. Replaced. It looks real good. And a little game called Elden Ring's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good
Let's do
too.
that. What do you think
Yeah.
about Atomic Heart, James? Give us some, we didn't talk about shredders. You
No,
want to talk about
we didn't.
shredders?
I had horrible font
What's
for their title font. It's horrible.
Speaking of horrible font, how much papyrus is going to be in Avatar? Hey,
All of
so
the
much.
papyrus. I hope they use up so much papyrus that no one else
there's
can
no
use
more
it.
papyrus left for anyone. So James, what? Okay. Thank you for watching or listening to 8.5 Bit. You can hit our website 8.5bit.com, our Twitter, Facebook, like and share anything you like. Subscribe to us on whatever the hell you want. You can join us on Discord, discord.8.5bit.com. E3, it's a big game show. Oh, goodbye.
Goodbye.